A hot high school girl looked out of the window and turned to her classmate. "Janmin, what are you doing there that is so suspicious?" Her friend named Yang Ming was very surprised to see her. He pretended to look for the toilet. Yang Ming was a tall guy with blue eyes and slightly disheveled hair who was 18 years old. There were only 3 months left before the state exam for higher education. Pretending that he didn't notice her, Yang Min continued to walk away from the training facility farther away. "Yang Min, there are only 3 months left before the exam. How are you going to go to university?" asked his classmate. Thinking about it, Yang Ming realized that even pigs can go to university then. Why would he do that? He just isn't that kind of guy and no need to worry about him anymore. He asked his friend named Chen Mengyan not to waste time. Yang's agitated shadow looked out the window and asked me to mind not to give up, even though she saw him run away from school again. Suddenly, a tall, stout guy came up from behind. It was the class headman and says, "Mangyang, you are too naive." The headmaster continued talking. "You know what kind of person Yang Ming is. If he wanted to learn, he would have taken his head off long ago. He is just different from us. You should stop caring about such a student." The agitated Mian understood what she was feeling. She was sure that Yang Ming was not that kind of person at all. There was an uneasy feeling inside. A moment more and Jana Min climbed over the fence, the school guard looking for him everywhere. The behavior of such a slacker affects the rest of the student body. How hard it is to be a school security guard. Yang Ming meanwhile hid under a branch of a bush and hid from the eyes of the curious guards. He fooled them again and cleverly made his way outside. Walking outside, he felt completely free. Maybe I should go play billiards first, thought Jan Min. On the way to the billiards, Yang Ming thought about the fact that actually, it's not that he doesn't want to study. He remembered his classmate, a cute girl named Su Mi. Back in middle school, he had been the top student in his class. It was his first love. They were trying to solve a math problem together. A young creature, a girl with eyes sparkling like diamonds. But something went wrong. They were told to go to the teacher's office immediately. The teacher already had Yang Ming's father and his girlfriends. The furious Yang Ming's father scolded at him and asked what he had done this time, little bastard. "Everything was ruined by my class teacher. He sicked my parents on me, for which the father hit his son painfully right in front of the teacher. Dad, I didn't do anything. Why the fuck did you hit me? You're still lying. The teacher already told me everything." My father continued to rage. The girl's father held her close to him and explained that if you want to find a boyfriend, you should not socialize with people like him. Look at his family. They are poor. The girl listened to all of this while crying, and the teacher was the only one who was excited. Suya's family is rich. Suya is like a princess. How can she be friends with someone like Yang Min? Probably because Suya is still very young, she was tricked by Yang Min. All because the girl's father bribed the teacher to keep an eye on her, reporting on any events. While lighting a cigarette, Yang Min recalled that incident. After that incident, I changed schools, and the teacher lost his advantage and took his anger out on him. In this way, he was discouraged from studying, but the most unpleasant thing happened afterward at dinner. His father wished him luck on his state exam. Walking instead of school, he thought maybe he should come back for at least one last class. A video of an old man trying to sell his junk and being accosted by suspicious individuals demanding that he pay for permission to sell here. When he heard them harassing the old man, he could not pass by and decided to help him. Gopniks jumped on the old man and extorted payment from him for the opportunity to sell their junk at this place. The indignant old man couldn't understand what the matter was. "I haven't done anything against you, so why are you trying to make my life difficult? You think you can get away from us with a few words?" shouted at him one of the reps. "I gave you a chance, but you wanted it yourself." He snatched the dunnage off his goods and scattered it in different directions. Young people are very rude these days, the old man thought. "I'll give you one more chance if you bow down and beg for mercy. Then maybe I'll let you go this time. Otherwise, you won't be able to trade in this neighborhood anymore," said the racketeer. Watching all of this, Yang Ming decided to stand up for the old man and help him get rid of these scumbags. "What the hell are you doing here?" he said to one of the hooligans. One of the hooligans recognized him and called him by his name, Young Gay, in which case GE translates as older brother, or as a respectful suffix. "Since you know who I am, then get out of my sight," said Yang Min. "Haha, did you think that we still respect you by calling you Young GE? Your time is up, now I'm the boss here," said one bully. "Didn't you hear what Liang Gay said? Or are you deaf? You haven't been the boss for a few years now." The racketeers kept talking, only I didn't finish listening to them. He grabbed his throat and took in air. "You're right, I'm not the boss anymore, but I can still kick your ass," said Yang Min. "Enough, forgive me and let me go," began to whimper the frightened racketeer. Meanwhile, his partner grabbed a brick and decided to strike, taking advantage of this moment. The second racketeer came up behind him and hit him with a brick. This was not expected in any way, but the brick broke right against Yang Ming's body. He looked at him with a heated glare. "You dared to attack me from behind and hit me from the back." Instantly, Yang Ming scattered those bullies, one landing a kick to the chest. The other one got a juicy punch right in the jaw that sent them scattering. After adjusting his jacket and tucking in his shirt, Jian Min turned to the old man. "Old man, you shouldn't peddle near schools. Bandits usually hang out near them. Better try the food market." The old man's eyes gleamed. "Are you really a disciple of the Shaolin Temple? How else would you learn the golden armor technique?" The old man inquired. "Old man, you have obviously counted a lot of novels or reviewed a lot of comic books," said Yang Ming. "If you don't have strong ki, how are you still intact after being hit by a brick?" The old man wondered. Yang Ming took out a case from his pocket that contained his glasses. After being hit by the brick, they had broken completely. "My father worked hard to buy those glasses." With great regret, he saw Yang Min. "I have a present for you," said the old man and handed him a mysterious box. "You're paying me for the broken glasses?" Yang Min asked. "Don't worry, the old man has ready-made glasses. They use the most advanced technology in the world. I originally wanted to give them to a good person, and I'm sure that you, young man, a very kind person since childhood, so I give them to you. I think I'll take these glasses that you're praising as if they're an advertisement for a miracle cure." Yang Ming took the box and scrutinized it carefully. He opened it and saw a neat case with contact lenses and a note. After Yang Ming shifted his gaze from the box, the old man was nowhere to be found. It was as if he had vaporized. Seeing him quickly disappear, Yang Ming thought that maybe he was a legendary master from another world. He had already spent quite a bit of time outside and decided it was time to go back to school. Maybe he could still make it to his last lessons. Meanwhile, school was in full swing with classes, graphs, drawings, and other arithmetic calculations that clearly no one would use in real life. Trying to understand everything the tedious teacher was explaining, Yang Ming couldn't stand it and tore the notebook to pieces. He leaned his head over his desk and thought about the fact that he was sitting in class, and he didn't understand anything, and it looked like he could give up on his classes. One small action pulled him out of his deep thoughts. A small piece of paper flew into his collar. It was a small note rolled up very tightly. He unfolded the note and read, "You're finally back to studying, so why don't you do it right? There's not much time left before the end of third year." This note was from his classmate, who sat next to him and gazed at him with great gusto. "Thank you for believing in me," he thanked his classmate. "There are 100 days left before the exam, so I have 5 days to study the book. I have 5 days. True, I missed a lot. It is better to start with math for 9th grade. For my father's sake, and for the sake of that pretty girl, I can't give up," he decided with firm conviction. The bell rang in the classroom, and the teacher demanded that we put away all our textbooks and announced that we would have a test paper. The young, red-haired math teacher said there would be another test paper, and you have 40 minutes to write it. The students became indignant because they did not even have time to prepare. Apparently, the teacher needed it. She wished them good luck. One of the classmates offered to rely on him to help him cheat, so they did it many times. Yang Ming thought about the fact that he still didn't understand. He'd have to copy off his classmate, but how would he do that if those bastards broke his glasses? And then he remembered the lenses that the old man had given him. Jian Min pulled out a box and carefully removed the contact lenses. "I'll just put them on," he thought. "There's nothing to lose." Grasping the contact lens with his fingertip, he gently placed it against his eye. When he put on his contact lenses, he had to blink a little to get them to fit. The student from the first desk showed him the answers to the tests, and he had only to copy them off. But he didn't know if he could see the fine handwriting in those contact lenses. He struggled to see the small handwriting with the correct answers. What good are these contact lenses if they don't work? Yang Min resented. He was very annoyed as he couldn't write off the correct answers. At that moment, he felt a strange sensation in his eyes. There was clearly something wrong with the contact lenses. A moment more, and the symbols and answers that were written on the sheet of the first desk began to appear before his eyes. It was as if he was looking through virtual reality goggles. He saw everything that was happening around him, and at the same time, he could clearly see the text written on the sheet in great detail. It's hard to make sense of this situation. What was happening to his eyes? His eyes would start to ripple and the image would disappear. Strange things, for a moment the image was gone and there was no use for those contact lenses. He decided to focus and try again. He needed the image to be restored. This time he succeeded and saw the correct answers again. Poking the contact lens out of one eye, he realized the headache was related to them. At this point, his teacher called out to him to stay focused and concentrate on the test paper. She came up to him so abruptly and made a remark that Yang Min was very frightened. "I'm sorry. Don't be so frightened, I just got these contact lenses. I was very uncomfortable in them. Hurry up and put them on, it's been 20 minutes and you haven't written anything, said the teacher. If you want, I can help you put on your contact lenses, she offered. Oh, that would be very nice. She leaned over to him and with her finger gently corrected the contact lens. First one, then the other. All this time, her big breasts were coming closer to Yang Ming's face. He couldn't take his gaze away from her breasts. Why are you frozen? Your lenses are in place. Hurry, write a test paper, said the teacher indignantly. He was so engrossed in exploring her cleavage that she even gave him a shalban to bring him to his senses. Thank you very much, teacher, thanked her Yang Ming, trying to hide his embarrassment behind a slight smile. And then he realized that if he took off the contact lenses, he could see normally again. At that moment, he realized that these contact lenses were a real treasure. The end of class bell rang. The students began to scurry around the classrooms. Young Min went to the window and tried to see objects that were very far away. In the distance, he noticed a fence that he had seen many times before, but now one small detail caught his eye that he hadn't been able to notice before. It was a small hole that he could now see perfectly, and it's all thanks to his unusual contact lenses. That's different, he thought, because this way he could use them during the exam. But there are some complications about who he can cheat from in the exam. After all, even if he saw the answers, how would he be able to tell if the answers were right or wrong? And then he saw a note from Mengyan. Then he realized that he was very lucky, because he had dreamed about her last night, just like lines from his favorite poem. Late at night I go to bed, listen to the wind-borne rain, and by the dreams I see Mengyang in a bikini on the beach. But unfortunately, it was all in a dream and it was all blurry, and he wants to see the real Mengyan, even without clothes. At this moment, he was distracted by a gentle female voice. Young Ming, the teacher wants to see you in the teacher's lounge after class. Turning at that voice, he saw Mengyan's girlfriend with one small peculiarity. He had only seen her in her underwear. He opened his mouth at what he saw. She was standing in front of him, in delicate pink lingerie and long white stockings. Chen Mengyan, why are you in such a way? He inquired. But what is wrong? Mengyan asked in surprise, trying to cover her eyes with her hands. Yang Ming wondered why she wasn't wearing anything. Trying to understand what was going on, Mengyan interjected, what exactly was she not wearing? Are you sick? Can't you see my outerwear? Mengyan asked indignantly, continuing to look at her delicate lingerie. He said he could really see her black and pink set. He couldn't stand it, so he slapped him. What's wrong with your eyes, shameless? Rubbing his cheek from the blow, he couldn't figure out why he was the shameless one. She was the one wearing nothing but her underwear. Whoa, something wrong, this is all a bit suspicious. He thought for a moment Mengyan couldn't have come to class in her underwear. Could it be because of the contact lenses? He tried and closed his eyes. We'd have to check again. What was his surprise when he opened his eyes and saw her standing in front of him, fully clothed. He only turned away and fluffed up his long hair. I'm sorry, apparently I didn't fully wake up, that's what I thought. Young Ming tried to quickly rectify the situation. She adjusted her short skirt a little, she thought. But how did he know what color my underwear was? Are his dreams so true? Walking down the school hallway, he was trying to figure out if it was all thanks to the new contact lenses he could see through his clothes. Right before Mengyan called out to him, he was thinking about seeing her naked, and I guess I can control that with the power of thought. We should try to check it all out again. We can't let something this good go to waste. Being in the middle of the school corridor, Yang Ming was completely surrounded by girls, but he decided that he wouldn't look at them. He decided that for the sake of seeing obscenity, he would go to the end. If he wanted to see a girl naked, he himself should make her undress. That's what a real man should do. Walking a little outside the school, he found his target. A stout guy was standing on the porch looking at something on his phone. It was a weird, tough guy because he was holding the phone with one hand and kept rubbing his dumbbell with the other. Yang Min concentrated and decided to see what he had under his clothes. Like X-rays, it began to shine through his windbreaker. Under the windbreaker, he saw a shirt. It wasn't enough. He continued to explore further. Focusing his gaze on his pants, he decided to see what kind of underwear he was wearing. Goddamn, that's disgusting. That jock had pink panties with white speckles and a yellow bow. Hey, watch where you're going, asshole. You've had enough of life, the jock said to him in a menacing voice. You told me that, Young Min asked. When the jock recognized him, he apologized. He didn't notice him at first. I'm sorry, I hope you forget about this incident, the jock said, embarrassed. Brother, I just want to tell you that guys shouldn't wear such flashy underwear. Be discreet. I can't believe my eyes. How does he know what kind of underwear I'm wearing? Does he have X-ray vision? Back in the school corridors, Jan Min wondered what the teacher wanted from him. For a moment, he fell into his reverie. Maybe she wanted me. Maybe it would be a date. After all, the teacher has a more mature body than Mengyan. Maybe I should take a closer look at her and study what kind of underwear she's wearing. These thoughts were giving him no peace. He decided to take them no further and stop thinking about it. Feeling completely confident, and he decided to enter the teacher's office. The young teacher just turned on her favorite solitaire game on the computer. "Young Min, you couldn't knock on the door before entering." She shouted at him, trying to cover the computer monitor with her breasts. At this moment, young Minus remembered the old Chinese saying, "Who does not do bad things, he is not afraid of so much at the door." "Teacher Zhao, are you hiding something?" Young Ming asked. "You don't think I have anything to hide?" The teacher tried to justify herself. "It's just that you wouldn't be afraid if you didn't have anything to hide." What a strange student. Thank God there are no other teachers here, or I would be embarrassed in front of them, the teacher thought. "Let's cut to the chase. Why did you want to see me, Teacher Zhao?" Young Ming asked. "Damn it, that was my line. How dare he steal it?" The young teacher was indignant. "You don't have anything to say to me?" the teacher asked indignantly. Surprised by such a question, Young Ming even interjected what exactly he was supposed to say. "Oh yes, thank you so much for your help with the lenses, Teacher Zhao. They're much more comfortable now. I was going to come over and thank you for that, but I thought you were busy working, so I decided not to bother you." The teacher looked at him with a smirk and held out the answer sheet. "Right? If you didn't have those lenses, how would you be able to cheat on a test paper?" He didn't expect to hear that. What cheating? I don't understand." "What are you talking about, Teacher Zhao?" The teacher showed the two answer sheets. "You mean it's just a coincidence?" she inquired. "The same mistakes on both tests. They're exactly the same." And then he remembered that he had forgotten to change some of the answers when he cheated. Looking at her gorgeous cleavage, he was immediately distracted and couldn't think about the test paper. Trying to justify himself a little, Young Ming said that the world is huge and it might just be a rare coincidence. "Young Min, look at you," the teacher continued to scold him. "Skipping classes, getting into fights, cheating on tests. Therefore, I made a bold decision," Teacher Zhao pronounced. "From today onwards, you will come to the teacher's room after class. I will do the lessons with you," Teacher Zhao said. Those words rang like thunder in his head. It was as if a bolt of lightning had struck his surprised face. Yang Ming was clearly not prepared for this. To say it was a tragedy was like saying nothing. These were thoughts he had yet to process in his head. The news really gave him a headache, but it didn't take long for it to hurt because someone called his name. He was a tall guy neatly dressed with a blue tie. He went up to him and said they needed to talk privately. Could it be Wang Jitao? This guy is famous for protecting the school's first beauty. As soon as they started talking, Minion intervened. "You two, you're the two of you. Is it because of me that you're having this conversation?" "Ming Yan, this is a man-to-man conversation. You don't need to interfere," Wang Jitao said. "Keep your emotions in check." He tried to talk me out of getting involved in the conversation, but he was seething inside, and he clenched his fists so tightly that they turned white. After a moment, he decided to say it to Young Ming's face. Putting out his index finger, he sort of told off Young Ming. "I retreat this time because of Meng Yan. But let me warn you, be careful next time, and watch your tongue. You shouldn't talk carelessly to the Manyang," Wang Jitao uttered. Yang Ming did not listen to all this and beat his hand away. "Do not yell at me and mind your own business," Yang Ming said calmly and confidently. "Damn it. I wanted to stand up for the yin-yang and ended up looking like a complete idiot," Wang Jitao thought. Sensing his loss, he was about to leave, and carelessly over his shoulder decided to express everything he thought about Yang Ming. "Look at you. You should know your place and keep away from Mengyan," Wang Jitao uttered. Hearing this, Yang Ming sent him far away. The enraged Wang Jitao could only grit his teeth and mumble something inaudible in his defense. Walking away from him, Yang Min thought that classmate was a total dumbass. Feeling guilty, Mengyan turned to Yang Min. "Are you really going to skip school again since self-study is about to start soon?" "Mengyan, our class is full of other students. Why can't you just get behind me and turn your attention to someone else?" Yang Ming inquired. Mengyan did think why she shouldn't switch her attention to another student, but there was a catch. "I'm the head of the class, and you're the one who constantly skips class, so I have to change your behavior," Mengyan said. "Is that all? Then if I have problems with my studies, can I ask you for help?" Yang Ming asked. "Of course you can," suddenly replied Mengyan. Yang Ming felt his heart flutter inside, but unfortunately he didn't understand anything. He could also ask her to study with him and use this opportunity to be alone with her. That was the end of their conversation, and they went to their classes. Yang Ming decided to go for self-study after all. After all, this way he would be able to get closer to this beauty. The self-study process was finished, and finally the high school students could go home. The stern driver beside the black Mercedes asked young Mr. Wang who had angered him. Wang Jitao plunged into the memories. He felt quite embarrassed by it. This bastardized poor man named Yang Ming dared to go against me, Wang Jitao said. The driver of the car turned around and asked who was brave enough to go against our dear sir. Should I punch him in the face or explain that he was wrong? No, not yet. We had a small argument today. It would be suspicious if anything happened to him. They might think it's me, Wang Jitao said with a smirk. Leaving the school grounds in a black Mercedes, the driver said to let him know when he wanted to deal with him. Meanwhile, Yang Ming was rushing home on his bicycle. His speed made him breathless and he even sneezed a little. The next day he was met by another classmate who couldn't believe his eyes. Bro, did you really decide to study all for the first beauty of the school? Dude, do you really read a textbook? Do you even hold the right side of it? A classmate asked. Yang Ming studied the textbook and realized that it was all because of the contact lenses in which he could cheat a little. But what was he doing it for? For a pretty classmate, or maybe for a luscious young teacher, or to give his father some peace of mind. Studying the textbook, he had just discovered a curious new feature of contact lenses. He can see through a book without flipping through it. Although some pages are upside down, if I look carefully, I can read everything. Thinking about it, he realized that the state exam was going to be a cakewalk. He tried to push these thoughts away from him and focus on studying the school material after all. He looked at his classmate again and thought that today he hadn't skipped class and was studying harder, so she didn't have to worry about him. After a little thought, he decided to write her a little note. The pretty maniac was sitting all immersed in her studies when a note flew to her. This is indeed the note that Yang Min just handed over. Burning with impatience, she made sure to reveal as soon as possible. The note said the following: I will study hard for your sake. This is what Yang Min wrote. And then the beautiful maniac was completely confused. Was it really a confession from him? Should she tell him at once that it was impossible? Would it be too harsh? If I rejected him right now, he might get discouraged, give up, and stop practicing. Mengyan's thoughts were becoming more and more preoccupied. She looked at him again and decided not to hesitate. She wrote a note right away. Yang Ming was beyond excited as the note contained the following: I hope you keep your promise, Mengyan wrote. He liked this answer because she didn't reject it, so she silently agreed. He noted to himself that Mengyan was a very reserved girl. Walking down the school hallway, he remembered that it was time to study with another beauty, in the teacher's office. As he approached the office, he heard someone inside. Zhao Ying, I made a reservation at the restaurant for this evening, and I wanted to invite you to have dinner with me, said a male voice. I'm sorry, but I don't have time. I have a class with a student tonight, replied the teacher. It didn't take Yang Ming long. He immediately knocked on the door as he was asked last time, but in response, he heard a man's voice who asked who is there, that he had come to see Teacher Zhao, but the rude man replied that she was not here, and that he should leave. Jan Min turned the doorknob and walked into the classroom. An interesting picture opened his eyes. A rude bastard stood with a bouquet of flowers and his questions pestered the teacher. Entering the classroom, a joyful Jan Min saw the teacher, and of course greeted her immediately. The enraged suitor shouted at him, Who are you? Who gave you permission to come in? Get out of here at once, he continued shouting and waving a bouquet of roses. Ignoring him, Yang Ming walked past him and went straight to the Zhao teacher. Ignoring the disgruntled interlocutor, Yang Ming greeted the teacher once more and asked if they could start studying. Zhao's teacher turned to her suitor and asked him to leave since she had to study with a student. The teacher threw the bouquet and ran furiously out of the classroom, not forgetting to slam the door. Turns out to be a teacher among young guys. Looks like I have the great honor of being alone with her, thought Yan Min. Jan Min inquired, Is this man who came also a teacher of our school? Yes, it's the gym teacher from now on. Try to avoid seeing him. I'm afraid he'll want to take revenge for your humiliation, the teacher said. Take revenge on me as if he can beat me in a fight. A teacher beating up a student? He doesn't want to work in this school, Yang Min inquired. The teacher suggested that we end the idle talk and get on with our studies. Come here every day after school. I'll go with you in the evenings so he won't do anything to you, suggested the teacher, to somehow secure the student of this horny gym teacher. They had been studying for a long time, and the teacher's back arched. Sitting in her chair, she arched up so that her lush breasts were ready to burst out of her delicate blouse. Observing this picture, Yang Min just froze in place. It was like he was swallowed up by these two huge hemispheres. Young Mina, why aren't you coming? The teacher asked, a little embarrassed by her question. He asked Ya to wait a little to catch his breath. They studied at school until it was completely dark. After leaving the school grounds, the teacher noticed that it was very quiet at night, even in such a noisy place as a school. Feeling awkward walking beside him at this late hour, the teacher thought, To fix it somehow, she decided to speed up and increase the pace of her walk. Jan Min noticed this and asked her where she was going in such a hurry. The agitated teacher wanted to stop him from catching up with her, but she couldn't say so she replied that she was cold and wanted to go home quickly. Yang Ming was a true gentleman, and he immediately knew what he had to do in such a situation. He took off his jacket and slipped it over the fragile girl's shoulders. Feeling the warmth of the jacket made her feel safe. She shared with him that she had come to work alone in an unfamiliar city. It's been a long time. She can't remember the last time someone took care of her. "I am a real man. Protecting the handsome man is my sacred duty," said Yang Ming with a smile. "Teacher Zhao." "Can I call you Big Sister?" asked Yang Ming. "Okay, but only when we are alone," replied the teacher. "Do not call me that in class, otherwise I will not talk to you," she added sternly. Outside the school grounds, they were blocked by two strange men. "Finally, we waited for you." One of them had the audacity and the voice to claim it was a robbery. Two assholes took folding knives out of their pockets and started approaching them, shouting that it was a robbery. Teacher Zhao was frightened and tried to hide behind Yang Ming out of fear. Yang Min decided to use his contact lenses and saw someone hiding behind the dumpster. A little closer, he recognized it as the same gym teacher who had been in the teacher's office. This moron wants to put on a show. The hero saves the beauty and at the same time to teach me a lesson, thought Yang Min. He put his arm around the teacher's shoulders to make her feel safe and asked what the robbers wanted to take. Confused by such a question, one even tried to remember what the gym teacher had ordered to be taken. "Of course, we'll take your money. Give us everything you have." Yang Ming said that no money they don't have, only their lives. That's an old Chinese saying that means they won't give them any money. "Stop lying," shouted the robber. "Give us your wallets, phones, anything of value." The frightened teacher asked if they should give the money back. I calmed her down and told her that if they wanted our money, they could come and take it themselves. The robber offered to search the guy, and the other one will search the girl. I almost forgot. The gym teacher told us to give him a good beating. The robber, who was larger in size, was clearly not distinguished by his intelligence, but he had strong fists. He attacked Yang Ming, and the first one was kicked directly into his chest. That was followed by several more punches to the head, a fist punch to the jaw, which caused the robbers to call for help. Yang Ming picked up one of the robbers and threw him into the bushes. The excited gym teacher was afraid that now they would expose him, and he would be exposed. He thought he'd get the student next time. After giving the two morons a good scolding, Yang Min suggested that the teacher go home. "Maybe we should call the police," the teacher asked. "No, it would take too long. Let me walk you home." They walked a little further, and the teacher said that it was time for him to go home and that she could walk home from here. Yang Min rejected the offer in case there were other robbers. "It's my sacred duty to escort the beautiful girl home." They walked a little farther and found themselves at the door where the teacher lives. As soon as they crossed the threshold, Jan Min inquired where her restroom was. As soon as he entered her apartment, he hurried to the toilet as he couldn't stand it any longer. Such a big toilet, there's also a bathroom. But why is the light on in the bathroom since they just came in? On the other hand, it didn't matter. He wanted to fix his need as soon as possible. And then I heard a voice from the bathroom. "Big sister, what are you taking so long to pee?" she asked. Jan Min wasn't ready to see a stranger in someone else's bathroom. It wasn't just a stranger, it was a beautiful girl wrapped in a bath towel. Out of surprise, she only had time to shout out, "Who are you?" And the embarrassed Jan Min was happy to see another beauty. This luscious stranger wearing only lingerie slammed the door and called him a pervert. Jan Min didn't understand what he'd done, why he was a pervert. "You interrupted my process and I still have to get home." Just then, the teacher remembered that it was Xiao Yan. There's no way her girlfriend's taking a shower right now. The teacher opened the door abruptly and in doing so startled him. He was standing in the bathroom holding his hose so he wouldn't splash the toilet. "You need to get out of here right now," the teacher pronounced. Her expression changed from surprise to indignation and back again. "I'm sorry, big sister. It hurts me to hold back the jet and I can't finish in front of you. Did you come to see me on purpose?" asked Jan Min. From such a fright, he might get erectile dysfunction. She slammed the door and called him a pervert too. He'd lost count of the number of times he'd been called a pervert that night. He realized that he had been interrupted once again and needed to finish as his bladder was already hurting. "Belle, I'm done now, you can show yourself," Yan Min playfully said. Teacher Zhao was glad that he had finally come out of the restroom. "The thing is, I share this apartment. Hide in my room for a while," and she shoved him into her room and slammed the door shut. Standing behind the closed door, he regained his breath a little and thought that two girls had seen him without pants in one evening, and he had seen nothing. He was burning with curiosity, and all at the mercy of the opaque shower door. "Opaque door, damn snakes," I completely forgot about the special power of contact lenses, thought Young Min, and then he caught himself thinking that peeping was a shameless act. But then again, they had seen him, so it would be fair. He was determined that everything was fair and decided to use his contact lenses to see everything in great detail. Teacher Zhao knocked on the bathroom door and turned to her girlfriend. She said there was no one in the room and she was free to go out. At this moment, Yang Ming stood outside the door and thought that the two beauties are very close. The girlfriend opened the door ajar and threw herself into a hot embrace straight from the bathroom. She had just showered, so she was only wearing the conflict of her outer blue underwear. Thanks to his contact lenses, how these two cute girls are cuddling, it really turned him on. The next day at school, it was business as usual. Young Mr. Ivan was walking down the corridor of the school when his phone rang. "Young Mr. Ivan, everything is ready," said a voice in the telephone receiver. A guy with green hair was smoking a cigarette and asked the driver who they should take care of. Mr. Wang's driver explained that he'd never met him before, but he had a photo. "He came here to make sure it's the same person, so wait for my signal." The green-haired guy was only happy at the suggestion. He was kneading his fists before beating up some stranger. Young Ming was just stepping outside the schoolyard when the driver called out to him. "Your name is Young Ming?" he asked. Yang Min replied that, "Yes, who are you?" Looking at his phone, the driver realized that it was really him. The stern driver said that someone ordered him to deliver a message. "You should stop because you think too much of yourself. You seem to have some questions for me," Young Min inquired. The driver gestured for the two scumbags to attack him. All this time, the two scumbags were hiding behind a tree, waiting for the driver's signal to pounce on the innocent guy. As soon as they approached, they froze, seeing the devil in front of them, in the form of Yang Ming. "Yang He, you misunderstood. It's a misunderstanding. We didn't mean to attack you." "I apologize," bowing his head said the green-haired guy, this older brother wearing dark glasses. "I think he said to you other or me to ask Young Min." The two scumbags ran away scared, apologized, and said they'd be sure to invite him to the cafe for a bite to eat next time. The indignant driver asked where the two scoundrels were running off to. "That 1,000 yuan you offered us, you can keep it." The outraged driver offered to shout that it was wrong after all. They had already agreed on everything. The guy with the green hair stopped his outrage and told him that if he insisted, he'd get punched in the face himself. The driver was left with nothing. His saviors just scattered in different directions. Jianmin realized that someone wanted to beat him, but who he had yet to figure out. And then Yang Ming remembered. It must be the class elder who is angry because Yang Ming got close to Meng Yang. It's worth asking him himself. Jianmin found him in the school cafeteria, and he was waiting for a call from his driver at that moment. The headman, "Why don't you eat lunch?" asked Young Min. From such a surprise, the headman almost dropped the phone from his hands. Stammering, he said he wasn't hungry and wondered if I didn't go home for lunch. Why he was here. I remembered that no one was home, so I didn't go. I heard that there are delicious sandwiches for sale near the school. Yang Min replied, and thought to himself that this bastard was acting very suspiciously. Yang Ming left the dining hall whistling his favorite song, and the head of the class realized that it looked like his plan had failed. "Yang Min, I underestimated you. It looks like I'll have to come up with a truly devastating plan." The head of the class was up to something very devious. He wanted Yang Min to lose everything. The family was at home at the dinner table. "Son, your grades have gone up a lot lately. You and Teacher Zhao study every night. Your mom and I talked about visiting her with gifts. What do you think about it?" your father asked. Yang Min, "No way did I expect such a question, Dad, don't be. Teacher Zhao is already my named sister, but I can't tell them that." He tried to somehow get out of the situation. Yang Ming suggested to Daddy that it would be better to treat Teacher Zhao to lunch. Daddy liked such an idea, and he even decided to give some money, just find a good restaurant. Sitting in school for classes, Yang Ming was trying to figure out a difficult task. He was already about to ask for help from the Mengyang. At that moment, the headman came up to him and said she wanted to apologize to him. I wondered, apologize? Did he get it right? I didn't mishear him. He wants to apologize weirdly. What the bastard is up to this time? The headman made excuses about the morning's incident, that it was his fault for being jealous of Mengyang. He also spoke a lot of unnecessary text while adding seriousness with his hand gestures. Making an angelic expression on his face, he apologized once more. "I just want to be free of my conscience, and as an apology, I had already booked a banquet table at Heaven and Earth restaurant." Young Min stopped him. "I apologize, I have an extra class. I won't be able to go until late in the evening." But Yang Ming also thought that Heaven and Earth restaurant was a place where rich people went, and since the headman had decided to pay, why not check out this restaurant? "Well, I will come tonight," replied Young Min. "Well, then I will wait for your arrival with honor," said the headman. Young Min remembered the difficult task he wanted to solve and sought the help of the Mengyang. The headman's sly smile said that his plan had begun to take effect. He was looking forward to its completion. "What did you talk to the headman about?" asked Mengyan. "Nothing, he wanted to invite me to dinner," replied Young Min. "He invited you, but you and your tail, but what really?" she asked. "In fact, he told me to stay away from you." I calmly replied, "I, Yang Min." Yang Ming couldn't take his gaze away from Mengyan's beautiful breasts, and had already completely forgotten about the task at hand. After class, Yang Ming went to Zhao's teacher as usual. She checked his results and was pleased that they were getting better and better lately. If he continued like this, he would be able to catch up with the class in 2 weeks. "Of course it will be, since all my attention is on you," Yang Ming thought. Looking at his cheerful expression, the teacher asked, "Did you think of something past now? Looking at your progress, I wanted to reward you, so I'll give you a delicious meal," said the teacher. "No, and how could I? And you're teaching me for free and you want to buy me a drink. I'm not comfortable with that." "Why not ask the teacher, then? How about you pay for my lessons, buy me a meal at a restaurant, or I'll resent you for the rest of my life?" Trying to save the situation, Yang Min agreed. "That's the way it is. I'll take you out for a nice meal." Yang Min invited her to one of the cafes she knows that serves delicious and cheap food. Looking at this plate, the teacher asked if the dishes were clean or not. He reassured her that this is a good place. It's been open for 10 years. It's very clean, and the food is delicious and cheap. The waiter confirmed it's right. "Mr. is right. This place has been operating for a long time. You young lady seems to be not from here, but your boyfriend here knows everything." The teacher was outraged that a strange waiter called him her boyfriend. Leaving the restaurant, there was a feeling of awkwardness, so to lighten the mood, Jan Min asked, "Don't take it personally. The owner just said the first thing that came to mind, and they always do that. Do you think I'm ashamed to be your girlfriend?" she asked, and he was very surprised that she wasn't angry. He thought she was angry about it. Moving on. In a dark alley, they were blocked by a nasty-looking guy, obviously a criminal, as he had a big scar on his face. Grabbing a knife out of his pocket, he told them not to move from their seats, and again, anything they had of value, or he would kill them. Yang Ming thought about the fact that if he were alone, he'd be 80% sure he would win, but he can't vouch for the teacher. Yang Min silently reached into his pockets and pulled out the money he had. He tossed them to this criminal to pick up and get out as fast as he could. The frustrated teacher Zhao crouched down on her knees and pushed her lady's purse forward. Seeing as they quickly carried out his instructions, the robber said the kid could go. No sooner had we taken one step than he turned again. "Stop, I said you could go, but the girl I didn't allow to leave." Putting his arm around teacher Zhao's shoulders to make her feel safer, Yang Ming asked what he wanted. The robber continued to threaten with the knife, laughing in his face, "You can go, but the girl stays. Don't worry, kid. I'll let her go as soon as I'm done." Yang Ming turned to teacher Zhou and quietly told her to run away from here. Hearing this, she was very surprised at what he decided to do next. Snapping out of his seat, Yang Ming prepared to launch an attacking strike. The perpetrator pulled out a knife and aimed right at him, shouting at him to get off his hooves. Yang Ming deftly dodged the stabbing blow and instantly landed a crushing blow to the jaw. The perpetrator dropped the knife and lost his balance and stayed on his feet only because he was stuck in the wall. But this was not enough for the criminal. He still continued to shout something inaudible and tried to somehow attack our protagonists. In a burst of intense anger, he remembered his punch. He calls it Yang style. His favorite kick is called the flying kick. It came right into the chest of a vicious criminal. After such a strong blow, drops of blood rushed from his mouth. The exhausted perpetrator was in a blackout. No one can get up after a flying kick. Yan Min moved closer to him to make sure the criminal was neutralized. In the criminal's jacket pocket, Yang Ming found a large wad of money. It must be looted money. Perhaps now it belongs to me. After looking around the place where the criminal attacked them, Yang Ming found the teacher's purse. Wondering where she had run off to, he thought. And then, thanks to his contacts, he noticed someone hiding in a dumpster. Indeed, all this time she had been hiding behind a garbage can. When she heard the danger had passed, she looked out. "You scared me to death, sis," Yang Ming said in surprise. And then the nicest part happened. She threw herself into his arms. He felt her tight, firm breasts pressed against him. He could even feel the touch of her hard nipples from the excitement. "I was so scared, are you okay?" she asked. Tears of joy welled up in her eyes. "It's no big deal, but look at my face. Now I have a cut from a fight with a mugger. What if I can't get married because of this facial blemish?" said Yang Min. "You are bleeding, you keep joking. Can you be at least a little serious?" Zhao said. "I wasn't joking at all. I'm just worried about my future," Yang Min said calmly. "To reassure him that I will be your wife in the future, let's hurry to the hospital to treat your wounds." "Let's go to your house," Yang Ming said. Zhao thought about what she had just promised him if he didn't want her to be his wife. Please, there's no need to go to the hospital for a scratch like that. You can just treat it at home. You didn't think of anything strange? Yang Min asked with a smile. I thought of something strange, she said indignantly. Yes, I'm worried about your face, she said indignantly. Without a second thought, Jan Min braked the cab and they went home. The cabbie turned to him. What's wrong with your face, kid? Did you run into any trouble? Yep, ran into a mugger, Yang Min replied politely. Hey, young lady. It looks like the guy loves you a lot since he showed himself as a man in the face of danger. Such men are still to be found, continued the cab driver. Brother driver, my girlfriend is too attractive. Honestly, this is the second time we've been attacked. This kind of talk made Zhao very embarrassed as she realized that he was still her student. She's a very pretty girl, but you can't blame her. Try not to go out at this late hour. Here's my business card, the cab driver added. If you need to go out tonight, just give me a call and I'll drive you. The cab stopped right outside their driveway. They got out quietly and asked how much they owed for the fare. Forget it, little brother and sister. Better hurry up. Go home and take care of your injuries. Thank you, big brother. My name is Yang Min. I'm a student at 4th Central School. Meet me when you have some free time. Of course, you're a very nice person. We'll have a drink together some other time. The cab driver said goodbye politely. Jan Min offered to walk her to the door of her home. One went up to their floor and Zhao knocked on the door for Xiao Yan to open it since she didn't have the keys. The door creaked open and they were greeted by her girlfriend. As it was quite late, she was sleeping in just her underwear. Big sister, you're back already. Why didn't you take the keys? She asked. Young Ming was very surprised at her girlfriend's outfit. The dark purple lace robe covered her lush breasts just a little. The lace panties covered almost nothing. It was perfect for sleeping. All three people felt terribly awkward being in this situation. When she woke up a little, she saw the guy in front of her again. In surprise, she put her hands over her privates. She only had time to turn away and run to her room, once again calling him a pervert. Zhao suggested to wash his face with soap and water in the bathroom. Then she will put ointment on his wound. It is already 10 p.m. Your family will be worried if you don't come home soon. Half an hour later, he was already moving down the street alone. Shit. She hadn't even offered him a cup of tea. Girls are so heartless. Late at night, he was returning home. Near one noisy restaurant, a small group of men were crowded together with beautiful girls. Yang Min noticed that someone was pulling his jacket back. I beg your pardon, he was approached by a young pretty girl. She was dressed like a young schoolgirl, wearing a short skirt and high black stockings. What is it? Yang Min inquired. The very young girl turned to him, felt terribly awkward and burning with shame. A little even stammering, she suggested that he did not want to spend the night with her. A surprised Young Min didn't immediately realize what she was trying to say. She was still very young and you could see her saying it with great effort. Then she gathered her courage and said again, Do you want to spend the night with me? She asked timidly. Spend the night? Yang Ming didn't expect to hear this now. She looks so young and innocent. Am I so lucky? No way. Is it the most legendary thing to spend the night together? Then you owe me 3,000 yuan, please, boldly said the girl. What? Young Min questioned in surprise. 3,000 yuan will be enough, she repeated. This is my first time, and with that comes my great excitement. The evening promised to be very interesting. Yang Ming was a little alarmed by these words. You mean you're still a virgin? He asked. Such an awkward situation even brought tears to the girl's eyes. If it's your first time, why are you doing this? Do you really need the money so badly? Unable to hold back the tears, they began to roll down her cheeks even harder. She said that she really needed the money. Trying to calm her down, he asked her to stop crying. I'll buy you. Just tell me what happened. My father was hit by a car and the driver ran away. We don't have enough money to pay for hospitalization. The hospital said if we don't pay 3,000 yuan by tomorrow, they will stop treatment. Grabbed his hand, she pressed it to her soft breast. Please buy me, uttered she. Ian Min pulled his hand out. His insides were torn apart. It was as if two demons inside were struggling with his feelings. On the one hand, he realized how sweet and soft she was. On the other hand, he had to be a complete pervert to take advantage of her in such a situation. And then he remembered what had happened to him that night. He said he had a proposition. He pulled money out of his pocket, which he took from the robber. He held out this money to this girl who stood in front of him. Take this money to treat your father and don't come back to this place again, Yang Min said, clutching that money in her hands. The girl remembered how eating today was denied by her relatives. A relative said her cousin's going to college this year, so we can't give you money. And the doctor yelled that if they didn't have money, they should get out of the hospital. The hospital doesn't do charity work. She hid the money and thanked him for such a generous gift. The morning begins in the schoolyard, with everyone bustling about and going about their business. Sleepy Yang Ming came to school and was greeted by several people on the doorstep. "Teacher Zhao, what is going on here? What do these police officers need?" Yang Ming inquired. The teacher explained that these police officers wanted to talk to him. "I am a senior investigator of the Criminal Investigation Department of the City Police. Please come with us to the station." The investigator opened his ID card and showed it. "Are you Yang Ming?" the investigator inquired. "Yang Ming, you are suspected of being involved in a murder case. I hope for your cooperation," said the investigator. The teacher intervened and tried to defend the student. "Excuse me, but weren't you just going to ask a few questions? Why do you want to take him away? He's my student and he has to attend class. I'm his teacher and I won't let you take him away." Surprised, Yang Ming asked what had happened, what crime we were talking about. Investigators took him by the shoulders and started to take him outside. "Whether it's true or not, we'll sort it out at the station." "Teacher Zhao, please don't obstruct our duties," sternly said the investigator. "Teacher, it's all right, go to your home. I didn't do anything wrong, so I'm sure the investigation will clear things up." Young Min tried to calm her down. Once at the police station, he was sent to an interrogation room. The interrogation was attended by the investigator himself and his assistant. A mass of questions bombarded him. Gender, age, occupation, where he resides. The strict investigator asked him what he was doing last night. The indignant investigator's assistant couldn't stand the explanation and demanded that he get to the point. Without thinking, Youngmin replied that he had studied with his teacher until late in the evening, and then we went to eat meat and noodles in a cafe. The investigator tried to defuse the situation somehow and continued to ask his questions, where they were staying, what they were ordering. "Damn it, old maid, that's what I'm talking about," thought Yang Min. The investigator's assistant couldn't stand it and slammed her hands on the table. "What's wrong with your memory and your manners?" she asked, as if she were playing a game of good cop, bad cop. Yang Min tried to calmly answer all the questions posed. In the cafe, they ordered beef with noodles. But he couldn't take the pressure, and I reprimanded the assistant investigator that she should learn some manners from her boss. Clenching her teeth in anger, she nearly smashed her fist into his face. "That's enough," shouted the investigator. "He's right. How can you remain impartial if you behave like that? When interrogating suspects, anger is the most unacceptable thing you can do, so you can't learn anything. And worse, your anger feeds their ego," said the interrogator. After calming his assistant down a bit, I asked Young Min to continue the story. "After we ate, we went home, but they met a robber in the street. The man you're talking about we found with no signs of life," the investigator added. CSU confirmed he suffocated due to bleeding in his lungs. The astonished Young Ming could not believe these words. "Did he really kill a man? Did you find out the identity of the person who attacked us?" Young Min asked. The investigator replied that they had already started an investigation, but no results had been obtained yet, so he asked his assistant to go and check the data. Feeling her superiority, the assistant investigator said that now you have known fear. Enjoy the rest of your time at large. Another assistant burst into the office, shouting that they had found information on the deceased. "This man is wanted for robbery, rape, and murder." The door opened abruptly, sending the assistant flying to the floor. From such a blow with the door, the assistant investigator fell on Young Ming, knocking him off the chair. It is possible that Yang Ming's actions are legitimate self-defense. From surprise, the assistant plopped down right on top of the young man, presenting him with her hips and lush breasts. Trying to come to her senses, she sat on top of him, her short skirt pulled up, revealing her blonde underwear beneath her black tights. "That's no good. Get off me now," said Jan Min. Young Min was lying on the floor with the assistant investigator sitting on top of him. "Why are you so heavy?" He tried to lift her up and accidentally grabbed her lush breasts with his hand. The assistant's whole body immediately tensed with surprise. "What are you trying to do?" she asked. Her eyes widened in surprise as he felt a strong male hand on his chest. She tried to fight back and get out of such a delicate situation as quickly as possible, but it looked very ridiculous. The investigator put his hand on his shoulder and apologized for taking so much time. "There's a reward for what you've done. I'll talk to the chief about it." The investigator also turned to his assistant to apologize about Young Ming and take him back to school as soon as possible. "I apologize, Commander, but I still have paperwork to do," resented the assistant investigator. The investigator immediately reminded her that she had already been late many times this week, and her attendance this month was far from perfect. The assistant instantly gave her a friendly look and said that everything would be done. A moment more, and Young Ming was already on the school grounds. Meng Yan was eagerly awaiting his return. That old lady from the station was driving so sharply that he almost threw up, thought Yan Min. Sitting at his desk in the classroom, He tried to bring himself to his senses as he felt dizzy and carsick. He didn't notice Mungyan approaching him. "Yangmin, why didn't you have school in the morning and what's wrong with your face? Did you have another fight?" she asked. Yangmin only excused himself that he had been studying diligently lately and that he had worked hard last night. "I just still have a headache and a little dizzy. Barely made it to school." She leaned right over his face and said, "Hey, if it's that serious, let me take a look at you." Young Min only added that she was very close. "I'm sick and only Menyang's kiss will heal me," Young Ming said and pulled his lips forward. "What are you doing?" Menyang was outraged. And without thinking long, she slapped him. She rushed out of the classroom, burning with embarrassment. "When are you going to stop making jokes like that?" she added. As she ran out of the classroom, she thought about taking the exam and him making such rude jokes. He's so thoughtless. Maybe he's just nervous. Then I should cheer him up. I'm so petty. And lately he's really taken to studying hard. Maybe if he's being asked to do too much, she thought. I wonder if it's just me he's joking around with. No, that's not what I'm thinking. I need to go back and apologize. Threw his arms back and swayed slightly in his chair. He was thinking about his bad luck today, and Menyang was angry. But knowing her temper, she would probably apologize now. Closing his eyes and relaxing a little, he decided to wait for her in that position, continuing to rock back and forth in his school chair. Then suddenly the head of the class came up. "I wasn't expecting such an approach. Fuck, what the hell?" he blurted out. Because of this abrupt approach, but he accidentally pushed him and the table shook and fell. In a split second, Yang Ming only had time to grab the old age tie to keep himself from falling. Because Yang Ming grabbed his tie, Wang Jitao found himself face to face in front of him. "Damn it, why did you appear so silently? I apologize. I just came to remind you about the dinner on Saturday." At that moment, Meng Yang ran into the classroom and thought the two boys were trying to kiss. Two young guys were so close and looked into each other's eyes. Menyang couldn't even hide her surprise. "What the hell are you doing here?" she asked. "Menyan, it's not what you thought." Young Min, lying on the floor, tried to remedy the situation. She apologized for bothering them. "I'm really sorry." And just as quickly, flashing her panties, she skipped out of the classroom. A teacher in the hallway happened to notice the situation. Yang Ming knocked the headman to the floor. "Do you really want to completely ruin my reputation?" he asked. "Yang Ming, don't be so hot. You're the one who knocked me to the floor, pulling my tie." The headman tried to apologize. The teacher came into the classroom and saw this incomprehensible picture. "Young Min, did you hear that you were released from the police station?" "Big sister, I don't know exactly what you think, but it's definitely not what you think." Yang Min tried to correct the situation. The teacher just watched it all from the sidelines and realized that something bad was going on. In the evening, as agreed, Yang Min went to the restaurant. He thanked the headmaster for the invitation. "It's me who should thank you. Let's have a drink," the headman suggested. "Buddy, I was wrong last time. I'll drink to apologize, and you drink as you wish." Young Min decided to support him and drink with him. "Ian Min." I wondered if the headman had changed drastically. It doesn't make sense. I wonder if he's up to something. It's also so strong. I feel dizzy and my whole body is on fire. The headman only chuckled and offered more food and drink. He looked like he'd be wasted if he'd had that much to drink. Jan Min didn't realize it was some kind of setup and decided to relax. He started drinking vodka straight from his throat. When the bottle was emptied, it dropped resoundingly onto the carpeting. It wasn't long before young Min couldn't keep himself on his feet. The sneaky headman came over and patted him on the cheek. "And he can drink. If I hadn't put something in the vodka, I'd probably have collapsed before him," the headman said. The headman's eyes burned with anger, and he looked straight into his face. "You're really looking for death since you've become my rival." Called his assistants, Wang Zhao told them to proceed according to plan. His two assistants picked up Yang Ming and dragged him from the restaurant straight to his hotel room. "Bring him here," Wang Zhao said, approaching the specific room that had been previously booked. "Go in. Undress him and throw him on the bed," Wang Jitao commanded. On the bed slept a very young girl. Her eyes were blindfolded. She was wearing a short skirt with black stockings. Her shirt was unbuttoned and her large and firm breasts were visible. "It's a shame to give him a girl like that." "Maybe we should let her try it first," one assistant asked. "You moron. Do you know how to use your brain?" Wang Jitao asked. "What do you think the police will check first?" Wang Jitao added. "All right, let's go. I hope your medicine works properly. Did you test it?" The guard inquired. "Young Master Wang, no interjections?" "Did I say something wrong?" the assistant asked. Young Min began to come to his senses a little. He couldn't understand why he was so hot. He was burning and dizzy. Opening his eyes a little, he tried to figure out what smelled so good. Where am I? In a hotel? Who's that girl? Jan-min tried to get up and see what was going on around him. Where did that sister come from? Wasn't I drinking with Wang Jitao? Is this a dream? Why is she blindfolded? I don't have that kind of addiction. No, that won't do. All right, it's just a dream anyway, thought Young Ming. Sis, little brother's here. He pulled her leg back and got down to business. She only began to moan that she was in pain. Please stop, she continued. Then I'll take it slow. Yang Min added and began to move more slowly. Shit, even in my dreams I have so much trouble with girls, but it feels good, Yang Min thought. At that time, Wang Jitao, the headman, was outside the door with his assistants and the hotel administrator. They heard the girls moaning and screaming. She called for help and asked him to stop. Wang Jitao said after a few minutes, go call the police. Don't be afraid of anything later, contact me. And keep your camera ready. When the police arrive, take a good picture. Jan Min was on the verge of arousal and was ready to come. Another moment and it happened. The assistant investigator was pouring milk for her favorite cat. A couple of hours before, the investigator had reprimanded her for the fact that the traffic police had detected a speeding police car. I think you should stay on duty tonight and think about it, the investigator added. Jan Min, after finishing, began to come to his senses a little. The busty stranger felt more joyful and considerably more relaxed. She even decided to smoke a pipe after such a pleasant time. At that moment, the phone rang at the police station. The assistant investigating officer immediately picked up the phone and asked what was wrong. Good evening. You have reached the city police station, she said. Hello, I want to report a crime, said the voice on the other end of the line. I am a visitor to the Heaven and Earth restaurant. I heard a woman screaming from room 315. She was calling for help, said an unfamiliar voice in the telephone receiver. My friend saw a drunken visitor from room 315 dragging a schoolgirl to his room. That's terrible. Thank you for your call. The police will be on the scene shortly. It didn't take long for the police signals to sound and the brakes to squeal, and in this case, the police reacted very quickly. A couple of minutes passed and several patrol cars were already outside the restaurant. Several police officers and the hotel receptionist were heading straight for room. Open the door now. We got a report of a criminal inside. With a shout of, the police are here, the investigating assistant kicked the door open. She rushed to comfort the young girl. It's okay, help is here, save me, she asked. What the hell do you think you're doing? Yang Ming tried to figure out what was going on and why the police had him in a twist. Gritting his teeth, he tried to speak to be released immediately. What are we doing? Yang Min, you just raped a girl. How can you still have the nerve to snap at me? I didn't expect you to be such a pervert, said the assistant investigator. Looking at this picture, I wondered, was it not a dream? How could this happen? He tried to figure out. Do you think this is all a dream? The assistant investigator asked. Do you really think you're still dreaming? I realized that you are a bad person the moment I first saw you. Even the chief of police was deceived by you. The assistant investigator added. Did I really do it? I only remember having a drink with Wang Jitao. Did that bastard really set me up? Yang Ming thought. Enough of this talk, you'll see him, replied the assistant investigator sternly. Not much time had passed and Yang Min was in the police station. What's more, it's the same interrogation room. In front of him sat the chief of police, who was trying to understand the intricacies of the case. Yang Ming, what have you done? He inquired sternly. Chief, please listen to me. I've been framed. I was drinking with my classmate at the Heaven and Earth restaurant, and then I was drugged. My head was like a fog, and my body was on fire, and I couldn't control myself, Yang Ming said. Is it true? So you're saying your classmate deliberately set you up? I doubt your words. We will analyze your urine to find out whether you believe it or not, the police chief added. Urinalysis? For what are my words not enough? Yang Min inquired. Just use this paper cup. Later I will tell the assistant to send it to the lab for analysis. Do I really have to pee from him, right here in the office? Thought Yang Min. Just when he decided to pee in a cup, the assistant investigator entered the office. Chief, there's a statement from the injured girl, she added. What are you doing? She asked indignantly. How long do I have to tell you to knock on the door before you walk? The investigator asked indignantly. Take a cup of urine and send it to the lab for examination. The investigator added. A cup of urine? No way. The assistant said. How dare you? Don't you know that we have to take care of all people for the sake of justice? The investigator was indignant. I understand, I'll do it. Well, now the assistant agreed. And then Yang Min decided to teach the fierce assistant a lesson. Let's take the dog with us, then I'm not going to make 3 difficult moves. Officer, your hand is so shaky you might spill my urine. added Young Min, and accidentally pushed the glass away that it spilled right onto the assistant investigator's hand. She was seething with anger. Why should I care about people like him? She resented him. Picked up the test cup, she told him to enjoy his time while still at large. We'll see who has the last laugh, she added. Jan Min thought about it. For some reason, this scene seemed slightly familiar to him already. It had been the same thing not long ago. How it happened. No one understood. Either slippery floor or long heels, but the assistant investigator slipped. A full cup of urine for examination flew out of my hands and fell to the floor, splashing all around. It was like a golden shower. The assistant investigator fell to the floor and was drenched head to toe in urine. Her short skirt and black stockings were completely wet. The chief of police only watched in wonder at what was going on. Yang Ming wanted to do a little meanness to the assistant to teach her a lesson, but he could not imagine that it would happen like this. Oh, how it hurts, she added. Rubbing her lower back, the assistant sat on the floor in a puddle of urine. The cup was completely emptied as it all spilled over the assistant's pantyhose, skirt, and underwear. A brilliant idea came to mind. Yang Min decided to clarify. Why did she do that? You dropped my urine. How can I prove my innocence now? Why did you do that on purpose? Young Min asked. What? Does that mean he's going to jail because of me? Thought the assistant. She continued to sit on her knees covered in urine and began to apologize. She noticed there was still some urine left in the glass. Maybe that would be enough for an expert. Yang Min, didn't you fill 2 glasses of urine? The investigator clarified and sent the assistant home to change her clothes. I'll take the test to the examiner myself, the investigator added. I apologize for my emotions. I'm all nervous right now, so I flared up, said Yang Ming. The assistant was shaking with anger. She had never been humiliated like this before. She looked at him fiercely. What a bastard you are. The aide rose abruptly and was about to strike with her fist, but Yang Ming caught her hand in time and swept the blow aside. Yang Ming's right hand rested on her shoulder, and with his left hand he grabbed her wrist, his strong fingers squeezing her arm. She didn't even have time to say anything. It happened so fast. She only managed to say that she was in pain. Really? You're the one who taught me this trick, Yang Min added. I'm in a lot of pain. Let me go quickly, the assistant moaned. You bastard, get away from me now. All tearful and frightened, said the assistant. That's when the investigator intervened. Ian Min, now let her go, he shouted at the whole office. The assistant couldn't hold back her tears. Her shoulder was hurting. I apologize, I didn't mean to. Yang Min apologized. She looked at him, but her gaze was full of pain and misery. Covered in tears, she found the strength and walked out of the office. Yang Ming tried to rectify the situation. Chief, I'm really sorry, I acted out of temper. You don't have to worry about that, I'll talk to her, the officer added. You'll spend the night here under observation until we get the test results back. Still, you committed rape. Even if the test results prove you were drugged, you have to be mentally prepared. I understand this is a really difficult situation. Thank you for everything, added Jan Min. The next morning, Young Min met at the police station. Jan Min, wake up, said the investigator who had just entered the office. Yang Ming, the test results confirmed that you were drugged, but all the evidence was removed from the restaurant. The investigator said, I believe you, but that's not how the law works. The final decision will be made by the court. If so, can I at least see the injured girl? Yang Min asked. I realize what I did is irreparable, but at least I want to explain myself to her. I'm afraid I can't let you see you, but I'll tell her the details of the case. The court ruling could change in your favor if she forgives you. The main thing is not to give up. Your life's journey is just beginning, the investigator added. It wasn't long before Yang Min was already behind bars. As is usually the case in such places, several criminals flanked him. Hey, rookie pioneer, what did they put you in jail for? One prisoner asked. Fucking sucker, Brother Bao is addressing you. Are you fucking deaf? Added the second prisoner. I'm not in the mood today, don't you dare come near me, Young Min replied firmly. What an arrogant child, resented the prisoner. I'm going to teach you a lesson, he shouted, clenching his fists in anger. The prisoner swung his arm to strike, but Yang Ming was ahead of him and delivered a sharp elbow strike right into his chest. The prisoner had not expected such a turn of events. His eyes almost popped out of his head in surprise. The prisoner fell to his knees and clutched his chest with his hand. He was in great pain. Where did your mood to fight go? Young Min asked. I told you I was in a bad mood today. So fast. This fellow is a much better fighter than I am, said the prisoner. Brother, foolish Bao didn't recognize you as a guru and thus made a mistake. Brother, I was too hasty. We all make mistakes, the prisoner added. I am Bao Sanli. All those who belong to the antebellum world call me Brother Bao, said the prisoner. My name is Yang Min. I was framed for rape. That's what got me locked up. Brother Bao, I just arrived here. I don't know how things work here, said Young Ming. No problem. Brother Bao will tell you everything. The noise of the cell with the prisoners changed to a pleasant summer breeze. Jan Min in the shade of a lush tree, lying on the green grass and thinking about something. Opening his eyes, he tried to realize what this place was and where was he? Where am I? Wasn't I just in a cell? What's that voice? But it's familiar to me. It's a voice, said Young Min. It was Meng Yang's voice. She was wearing a lush white dress, flowers braided in her hair, and the warm wind was developing her skirt, revealing white lace stockings and delicate panties. Mengyang, Mengyun, Young Ming continued to shout, why can't I move and speak? Mengyun, don't run around, we are going to take a general picture, said a man's voice. Honey, come to me, she said. Who is that next to her? Mengyun, there's a beggar looking at us, aren't you ashamed? Asked the boy. Why didn't you tell me this before? She asked. And then Yang Ming noticed that it was Wang Jitao. But why are they together? And now I feel awkward. Should we give him some money? You're very kind. It's my blessing to have you, Wang Jitao said. Everything went dark. Yang Ming was plunged into darkness. He was so surprised that he couldn't breathe. This just can't be real. How could she marry a Wang Jitao? It must be a dream. I'm just dreaming. Young Min continued to rave. It's like this girl from the hotel room showed up. It was you. You raped me. You ruined my life. It's all you. I hate you. I hate you. I curse you. She kept talking. I didn't mean to. I didn't do it on purpose. Young Ming tried to say something in his defense. Is everything she said true? Didn't you promise to marry me in the future? The image of the teacher appeared. I'm very disappointed in you. You're just a rascal, she added. Yang Ming was on his knees and bowing his head. 3 silhouettes of girls were at his back and threatened him with a knife. Die, you bastard, one of them said. And then, as if in a delirium, he began to hear the words of a familiar song. This song is so tough. What are those familiar lyrics? At this moment, Yang Min woke up. Fortunately, it was all a dream. Some old man in the cell grabbed his leg. Old man, why did you grab my leg? Yang Min asked. And the old man kept humming a song. Brother Bao, you're awake too? What's wrong with this old man? Young Ming asked. This old man is always so strange, sometimes Dior, sometimes puzzled. This is not the first time he sings at night, replied Bao. He's holding my leg so tight, does he think it's a guitar? Don't worry, he'll go to sleep after a few songs. He does that every other day. Just don't react to him and be patient, added the prisoner. Then the old man let go of his leg, and Young Min tried to figure out what would happen next. The old man had a crazy look in his eyes, as if he was up to something bad. Hey, old man, stop it now. Young Ming became indignant, but the old man grabbed him by the leg with all his might and continued to do strange things. Surprised Young Ming couldn't understand what was wrong with this old man. Brother Bao, what is he doing? Brother Yang, just don't move. Didn't I say not to resist him? None of us could escape from his grasp. If we start helping you, he'll twist us too, so wait until the end of the song. Why is he singing a love song? Young Ming couldn't contain his irritation. Old man, I'll start fighting if you don't let me go, Young Min added. The silence of the night was broken by the sounds of men fighting. Something seemed to be going on outside the walls of this place. It's finally over. This old man is incredibly strong. I feel as if all my bones are broken, Young Ming said with great difficulty. The mighty old man only coughed a little and went about his business. He took another look at the motionless body. Young Ming couldn't put up any resistance. He was completely exhausted. Wake up, get out of bed, hurry up, hurry up. Every morning in prison started the same way. Strange. I don't feel any pain after last night. Instead, I feel lightness all over my body, Yang Ming said in surprise. What's more than that, though, is that this old man is so lively at night but sickly during the day. Walks around the prison grounds coughing like he's going to fall to pieces. Brother, let's go to breakfast, he said one of the prisoners, and invited him to go to the mess hall. The prisoners began to queue up near the food distribution. The rice and vegetables here are the best, Brother Bao added. Hey, old man, you're eating too much. We haven't eaten anything yet. Aren't you afraid of dying? The prisoners pounced on the old man and knocked the flatbread out of his hands. Yang Ming lifted the flatbread. Why are you so clumsy? Looking at the old man, he asked. Hey, you, come to me. Young Min turned to the prisoner. Who are you? He asked. Young Ming grabbed the prisoner by the collar and started shoving the flatbread right into his mouth. You wanted to eat, so eat it yourself. He shoved the flatbread straight into his mouth. Hey, you, but stop right now. The second prisoner started to stand up for him. Abruptly, he turned around and asked if he could put a flatbread in his mouth too, to which the prisoner apologized and said it was all right. Janmin walked up to the old man and handed him a flatbread. Help yourself, it's for you, he added. Thank you, young man, the old man said shyly and reached for a flatbread with his decrepit hand. Hey, you got a good heart. The prisoner who was watching all this from the outside turned to him. "This old man is not only poor but also miserable," added the prisoner. "I heard that he has been here for very many years. Do you know anything about his past?" Young Min asked. "This old man's name is Fan-chan, and he was a powerful figure in one town. He was framed for a woman and ended up here. In the end, the woman left him and joined his enemies. Thank you for your story. All right, well, hurry up for breakfast if you want to eat something else." "That's funny," thought the prisoner. Both of them were introduced because of the woman. Meanwhile, the police station was interrogating a girl who was also framed like Yang Min. The room wasn't like an interrogation room. It was a comfortable office. The assistant investigator asked everything about the girl. "I don't want to know this man's identity." "What's the point of that?" the young girl asked. "This part of the procedure, you have to look at the photo and recognize the person. It's just a photo." The assistant investigator added. The girl agreed to look at the pictures. As soon as she looked at the pictures, she couldn't believe her eyes. Was this really the same guy who had once helped her in the night? The assistant investigator was very surprised. "Do you know him?" she asked. "Yes, I know him. How could it be him? He was such a good man. Why would he do this?" She told the assistant investigating officer about how he gave her a large sum of money for her father's treatment. By the way, the officer said he was put up. He is a good man after all. In that moment, she thought about the fact that he had helped when she needed help. Now she would help him. "Officer, I want to ask you, don't put him in jail," the girl stated. "How can he go unpunished? He did such a terrible thing to you," shouted the assistant. "He helped me before. I want to help him now. Besides, he's been put down. He's a good man. If he is a good man, then he wouldn't do such bad things." "A good man wouldn't do that," shouted the assistant investigator. "Stop yelling at once," asked the girl. The assistant investigator couldn't believe she was asking for his release. "It's too much. Think hard again. What does he mean to you?" she asked, with a great deal of embarrassment on her face. The girl declared that he was her boyfriend and she was his girlfriend. "You'll talk to the chief about it later. I won't worry about you anymore. I'm going to report to the chief," declared the assistant investigator. "It's all right. Thank you, officer, for your attention and patience," the girl replied modestly. At this time, the beating of prisoners continued in the prison. Shouts and whistles and clicks and blows could be heard from everywhere. Some of the prisoners were screaming in pain while others were shouting, "Do it!" The angry prisoners pounced on Yang Ming and Brother Bao. "Brother Yang, do you need help?" Bao asked. "I want to play big. Come over here," Yang Ming shouted, and the prisoners began to come from all directions. The prisoners were getting closer and Yang Ming continued to beat them. They couldn't get any closer than a foot away, as instantly a punch would come flying at Jaws. "Everybody stop, she's here. She's already here," shouted one of the prisoners. A white Jeep Wrangler pulled up and a girl in tall leather boots got out. "Oh, I just went out to buy something for a while. And when I came back, it was so lively. Who can tell me what's going on?" she asked. "Brother Bao, can't you see the prison monitor? Get away from me, I'm warning you," threatened one prisoner. Brother Bao asked Yang Ming to play along a bit. "I did it," Yang Ming declared. "Big sis, you're finally here." Ball's brother began pityingly recounting how the bald head almost killed him. "I went outside to play a little, and the bald head said I took his place and called people to fight. You have to protect me. Get out of my way, asshole. Don't touch me. I'll give you 1 second. If you want me to teach you a lesson." "Go to a jail cell right now," she said. "Which one of you is Yang Min?" she asked. "Come with me on a little trip." They found themselves in a cozy office. Comfortable sofas, an aquarium, a coffee table. She took a sip of hot tea. "Yang Min, it seems like I should be doing a better job of training you. Your training is pretty good. Even the chief asked me to keep an eye on you. However, you're going to cause a lot of trouble, even if you're fed here. Today's incident is pretty big," she added. "Come on, educate me," as if under hypnosis, Yang Min said. She swung her long leg and in a moment her leather boot was already near his face. Yang Ming seemed to freeze in place. Fast, very fast. It was physically impossible to accomplish this in such a short period of time. Yang Ming was as if he was under hypnosis. "First of all, I hate it when someone interrupts me. Second, my name is Zia, so don't forget to address me as Cecilia afterwards," she said. "Third, if you're not completely sure of your chances, then don't start silly fights. This world is much bigger than you think. I can't move my body. My body feels like it's entangled in a snake," Yang Ming said indignantly. "Okay, let's talk about you. You're still not up. Are your legs numb?" she asked. "I'm tied to the floor with a woman. This woman is very dangerous. She has personality issues as well," added John Min. "Don't cry or it'll look like I'm bullying you. Give me your hand," she said. Just now she was as dangerous as a snake. Now she's acting like she's my sister. I should stay as far away from her as possible, Yang Ming thought. Are you afraid of me? I won't eat you, she said. Sister Sia must be joking. Thank you, Sister Sia, but I can get up on my own. I'm not kidding or teasing you. You'll be free soon, she said. What, is it true? It can't be. Do you really want to stay here? I know the victim took her statement. Go back and clean yourself up. The chief will come to pick you up, Sister Sia added. I am very excited. Thank you for telling me the good news, said Yang Min. Anything else? She inquired. I want to ask you something, a small favor. It won't be a big problem for you, Yang Min added. There is an old man who shared a cell with me. He has been here for a long time. He came face to face with injustice and was sent to prison. It should be very easy for Big Sister Sia to help him get out. I know that, old man. I'll take care of it. Now I get it. That's the only reason why I won't punish you, she said cryptically. In an instant, she was close to him, her hand covering his mouth. Her right foot pressed him against the wall like a sharp spear. Remember, after talking to me, don't try to hide this lasting thought in your heart, she whispered mysteriously. I don't want to see the way you fear me the next time we meet. In fact, I'm looking forward to you making the mistake again. She continued to whisper in his ear. Sister Sia, I won't make another mistake again, but your foot is climbing higher and higher. This woman is too terrifying. She's not only inscrutable, she's eccentric. Remember, no more mistakes, she added. I have to pack my things. Can I leave now? Asked Yang Min. Be careful on the road. No wonder the reform rate is the highest in this city, she said. It is not for nothing that others treat her as their ancestor when she sees her, said Yang Min. As soon as the door opened, he ran away. We must leave quickly. Run a little slower or you'll fall, she said after him. It looks like this kid is quite skillful, pronounced the mysterious gentleman in white suit. However, his character is not suited for it, he added. He didn't faint under the pressure of his sister Snake King and regained his composure. I carefully checked his heartbeat. He didn't shudder under the Snake King's pressure. I don't remember him saying goodbye when he left. Little brother was rude, she added. Sister Sia was immersed in her fantasies. She wanted to have some fun with him next time. How can you interrupt my comments, bitch? The guy in the white suit yelled and hit her on the head so she bit her tongue. Who would want to listen to your senile comments? Pressure from the king of snakes? Stay out of my conf with your bullshit titles. Don't fantasize like a child. How could you say such shameful words? Shame on you. Sister Zia continued to shout. And how could you hit me on the head? With that scream, she kicked him with her foot. A serious commotion started in the room. It was hard to make out who was hitting whom. But then the gray-haired man intervened. That's enough. Behave yourselves, don't be naive like teenagers, he said. Wouldn't you feel ashamed if your little brother found out? He said with his eyes closed. Master Shifu, please put us on the ground first. They began to beg. It turned out to be the same old man who was in the cell with Yang Ming. He lifted the guy and the girl up high by their feet. Jay, what are you smoking, that heavy smoke smell that could give you away during the operation? Said the old man. Ha ha ha. I prepared these cigarettes for you, Shifu. I just checked their quality. They are absolutely the best grade, added the guy in the white suit. Lena, have you been eating a lot of sweets recently? You've gotten much heavier, noted the old man. No, Shifu, it's my shoes. I reinforced them by making steel linings. She added, Don't lie, I saw you eating sweets just now. Did you kick me with the rest of your shoes, you cruel bitch? Have a little chat rather than settle down and have a cup of coffee. You have to try not to let things like that happen. You can't always count on me to finish it right, the old man said in a calm voice. That's right, Shifu, the boy and girl said at the same time, as if they had just been scolded very harshly. I've been in hiding for so many years. I wonder how many people still remember. They still remember the murderous kings. Send out a message that I'm still alive. This should be very interesting, the old man said sternly. Let's play hide and seek. Will they look for me? Or should I look for them first? Lighting a cigar, the old man said. The police chief took Yang Ming away and thanked the lady for her attention. See you again, Yang Ming added. Forgive me for causing you trouble by forcing you to take me away from here, said Yang Min. Oh, I was the one who sent you here. Of course I'm obliged to take you away. Way careful in the future, said the inspector. Inspector, the victim said she was my girlfriend. Can you tell me what happened? Asked Yang Min. Let's talk about it in the car, the inspector replied calmly. 2 girls were watching them from around the corner. That's enough, he's gone. I don't understand why you care about such a scoundrel. Let's just go back. It's raining pretty hard, you might catch cold, a girl said. Miss, can I go now? The injured girl inquired. If you're okay, of course you can go. The assistant inspector replied. Young Min, I don't owe you anymore, she thought. The heavy raindrops hit her umbrella, flying in different directions. At this moment, Yang Min sneezed. Damn, what hot girl is remembering me right now? He thought to himself. In the country house, the beautiful music of playing the piano rang out. Still not good enough. I should practice more, Mr. Wang said. Miss Minyan will definitely be touched. Master, you play very well, the maid said. With no Yang Ming in my way, now I will definitely get Mingyan's recognition. Mr. Wang said, Mister, you have a phone call, added the maid. Mister, Young Min has been released. The voice in the telephone receiver said. What? How is that possible? How am I hearing from a policeman friend that the girl took her charges? Van continued to shout. Shit, freak shit, how can you be so unlucky? He shouted, and threw the phone to the floor. It wasn't long before Yang Min was back in the schoolyard. I didn't expect to be back here so soon. I was away for a few days today, but for me it felt like years. I wonder if that bastard made a scandal about me. If he did, how can I face Meng Yang and Sister Ying? Well, judging from the passers-by, I guess he didn't. From behind him, he heard someone's very familiar voice. Marie, she's Minyan, good morning, said Young Min. Shut up! You cheeky bastard, where have you been all these days? If you keep skipping like this, I won't help you anymore. How can you become a truant again after you've made a little progress in your studies? Meng Yan asked. I don't feel well, just now I was dizzy, but as soon as I saw you, I felt much, much better. Yang Min replied cheerfully. Don't talk nonsense. Meng Yan replied sharply. It's true, beautiful things make people happy, and happiness helps the sick get well. Young Min replied calmly. That scumbag Wang immediately approached him and pretended that they were old friends. Young Ming, why didn't you go to school all these days? Don't give up at such an important moment, he added. I didn't show the pictures of your crime because I don't want to be traced, otherwise you wouldn't have a chance to talk to Marie either, thought Wang. Ha ha ha, I won't give up. I just caught a cold. Thank you for your concern, replied Yang Min with restraint. That's not all. We're brothers now after that, I guess. Wang added. Speaking of that dinner, do you remember what happened after I got drunk? Asked Yang Min. I had the waiters take you upstairs to rest. They didn't take care of you? So you caught a cold because of that? I'm sorry. Bastard Wang started to think he suspected him, but he has no proof. Ha ha ha, that's not true. I was just curious as to what happened. I really have to thank you for your taking care of me, replied Yang Min. I shouldn't be so careless. As an apology, dinner next time is on me, said Wang. Okay, it's a deal, replied Yang Min. Hey, you two, when are you going to stop talking? This is so disgusting, Marie said indignantly. It's not what you think, Marie, they replied. It won't forget me. It's almost class time, let's go. Yang Min, the exam starts tomorrow at school. I wish you good luck. She also thought the boys' relationship was very strange. They were enemies just a day ago, and now they're acting like close friends. Can't we go to class together? Wang asked. I'll go to the restroom first, replied Yang Min. After they went their separate ways, they thought to themselves. Yang Ming thought that revenge is a dish best served cold. Rascal Wang thought that we'll see. You can't always be so lucky. After everyone had turned in their exam papers, Yang Ming stayed late at school, yes, the very evening. The teacher invited him into the office and was finishing checking his work. The result of all his answers in this exam was 138 marks. Yang Min, I think this is the end of our after-school classes, said the teacher, looking at his test results. What's wrong? Why, Sis-in? Did I do badly on the test and make you angry? Yang asked in surprise. Ho, 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 look at this. Be more confident, you see? You don't need any more extracurriculars, the teacher added, and she showed me his test results. What? 138 points? How is that possible? Ian was surprised. Oh, Sister In, this could be a coincidence. There are still a lot of questions here that are hard for me to answer, said Jan. Coincidence? So you don't think we class is helping? Oh, that's not what I meant. I just wanted to... Ian kept choosing his words. Take it more simply. As a student eventually becomes independent of his master. Besides, you had to pull yourself up not only in math, but in other subjects too. And now it's time to go home, calmed him down by his teacher. Ding, 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 ding rang throughout the school. Exam time is over. Students, put your hands down, please, and have your papers ready for inspection. In the corridor of the school, John Min noticed the pretty Marie and immediately decided to approach her. Maria, how was your exam? Yang asked. Young Min, you surprised me. About the same as always. But what about your score? You look so happy. Hey, that was pretty easy, replied Ian. Great, so you've made good progress in your studies. You make me jealous, Marie added slyly. Speaking of my progress, yes, I have you to thank for your strict supervision. If it weren't for you, a loser like me would have given up long ago. Thank Jan. Hey, don't be so verbose. Marie stopped him sternly. Watching you is just my responsibility as your classmates. Marie added, I'm going home to do my homework now. I'll see you later. Jan started twirling around her and coaxing her to go for a walk. It's a rare chance to have school over so early, and it's good for health to freshen up after an exam, added Jan. The thoughts in Marie's head were screaming only one thing. Go ahead and agree, please, please, please. Marie wanted to go for a walk. Of course she did. That's right. Knight Yang is willing to do anything to serve your highness, Ian replied quickly. Ho ho, you fool, Marie replied affectionately. Your highness, please watch your step, Yang added. Marie snatched her hand from his and playfully ran down the steps. Just stop fooling around and let's go. Don't run so fast, be careful, Ian added. Marie was afraid to show his feelings. Why am I so excited? It's just a casual touch, isn't it? I won't wait for you if you keep fooling around, she added. It was a warm summer day. They were walking after school. There were not many people on the street. Most of them were at work or studying. Janmin told a very interesting story. Once upon a time, there was a guy named Neil. He was secretly in love with a girl named Valya, and they were friends for 3 years. One night, she decided to accept him as her boyfriend, so they turned into... In this case, the word accept in context has to do with sex. Guess who they've turned into? Yang asked slyly. How can I know? Tell me now, Marie answered. I might add, I think you've already realized that they've turned into lovers. Wait a second. While walking through the park, Marie noticed something and started looking at the handmade jewelry. And I never thought a girl like Marie would buy things from a peddler on the side of the road. Ian thought. Look, Jan, which one looks cuter? Marie asked. They're for you. You were born, these things can only be cherry-picked, Ian added. You're flattering me again. Wait, I'll decide for myself, I answered Maria with a serious expression. I'll take both of them. How much will it cost? Madam, it will only cost you, replied the salesman. Maria looked hard for her wallet, searched all her pockets and didn't find it. Oh crap, I think I forgot my wallet at school. I've been watching this situation and I knew he had to make it right. She doesn't have any money on her. It's time for the hero to rescue the beauty, Ian thought. Please take the money, keep the change, said John politely. I'll pay you back as soon as I find your wallet. Don't worry about it. Just take it as a little gift. You know, I should give you something better to thank you for helping me study. Marie, don't you think this looks like a date? Yang asked cheerfully. Shut up, we're just relaxing after exams. No more jokes. Otherwise, I won't go out with you next time, Marie replied sternly. So are we going to have a next time? Immediately Ian interjected. That depends on your test scores. Thought I'd reassure him. My driver's here, I gotta go. I think the artist chose the perfect angle for this slide. It emphasizes all the beauty of her young body. He politely helped her open the door and get into the car. Marie looked at him through the tinted glass. She felt warm inside and couldn't understand what was happening to her. Why she couldn't take her eyes off him. Yang Min walked relaxedly towards home. He had done 2 big things today. He had passed the exam and he had a date with the most beautiful girl in school. Yang Min! A familiar voice called out to him from behind. Unusually, this voice was from a police car. Mr. Chen, good to see you. What brings you here? Yang Min asked. I was running errands nearby and stopped by to see how you were doing. The inspector replied. I thought school ends much earlier today because of exams, but you made me wait a long time. Added the inspector. I didn't say that, but how do you know I have an exam today? No wonder you're the sheriff. Ho ho, why didn't you go home after school? Did you go out with your girlfriend? The inspector asked cheerfully. That's right, how would you know? You're really terrific, Sheriff. Did you really go out with a girl? The inspector was surprised and almost got out of the car. Hey, even if I did, how does that concern you? Childhood love along with a police officer's surveillance? I was hanging out with a classmate, not my girlfriend. A classmate, you say? The inspector clarified. Yes, one of the best students in my class. She helped me a lot in my studies, Ian added. Okay, get in the car. Now we can talk about that old man named Fang Tian. Do you have any news about him? Young Min immediately asked. Yes, I reported his situation to the prison director. He made it a matter of great importance and assigned the case to me. I looked at his case files. As you said, there are a lot of dubious points and inconsistencies in his case, the inspector added. He was jailed for theft, but his sentence is too long to punish such actions. Do you think his deadline was wrong? Or was it extended on purpose? Asked Yan. I'm almost sure of it, but there are some problems, replied the inspector. According to the files, Fang Tian was associated with a historical group of thieves who brought fear and terror to the people of the city. Mr. Chen, as I know, he was put down. Besides, the long imprisonment made him crazy, said Yang. Yes, I saw him too. I think his thoughts are disordered, replied the inspector. It may be that his file story was made up, I'm not sure. In any case, I will prove everything I know to the principal and the final decision will be made by my supervisors. That's great, what a poor man. I believe that Director Wang will rectify the situation, joyfully replied Yang. How are you doing? Chard Vaughn not giving you any trouble? Asked the inspector. No, on the contrary, his attitude towards me hasn't changed. I wonder if he even put me up to it. And whether he is or not, you must proceed with caution. Forget it. How are your exams going? Chen asked. I'm doing great. I'm doing well in my studies. Are you going to go to CJ Technical University? Asked the inspector. I think so. Now I am very motivated, replied Yan. I was your age once. Let me guess, the girl you love goes to CJ University too? The inspector asked cheerfully. How did you know that? Ian was surprised. Oh, it's written all over your face. Don't forget who I am. Boy, work hard. I have confidence in you and your strength and knowledge. The inspector added. Oh, I hope Maria is also confident in me, replied Jan. Janmin waited for the bus that was going to his house. He tried to pay his fare, but all the petty cash he had spent on jewelry for Maria, he had no change at all. Ian, wait! While someone else was paying, he was approached by a familiar female voice. Use my card. Oh, don't take me for a stranger. Jan was very embarrassed by this. He hadn't expected to meet Marie on the bus, much less have her pay his fare for him. Yeah, I have to skip the formalities. You know, we could be a family. Ian replied happily. Family? Shut up. Don't reach for the colonel after you've reached an inch. Maria was very literate and sometimes responded with proverbs. Ha, of course Yang immediately understood the meaning of this phrase. Hey, don't push me, you blind bastard. A passenger whom I had accidentally elbowed started making noise. Why didn't you take a cab if you don't like jolts, poor man? Jan answered calmly. Perhaps this passenger had some psychological trauma as he wanted to lash out in rage. He had even already swung his fist, but Ian caught his hand and blocked his blow. What a force! The passenger was indignant as he could not move any further. Marina went to the bookstore. What books do you want to buy? Jan asked. Some books with exercises for the entrance exam. I've heard that many school children study with them. Marie turned to him. Young Min, I suggest you buy a set of these books too. It will be very useful, she suggested. Instead, Yang was interested in a completely different book. Excuse me, do you have any books on lip reading? He asked the salesman. X-ray vision along with lip reading would be a great skill. Lip reading? It's over there, next to the textbooks for the deaf and dumb schools. The third shelf on the other side, the counselor replied politely. Jan brought the books to the register and the cashier noticed something. These two books also came with the video lessons. You can go back to the shelves and get them from the bottom, she advised. Jan went to the shelves and finally found those video lessons. They were hidden at the very bottom. As he searched for these lessons, his legs went numb in this position. He tried to stand up, at which point he caught his head right under the skirt of a girl who had also come over to pick out books. You pervert, she was outraged. Pervert? Me? What happened? Ian was surprised. The girl looked with disgust at the young man. She was indignant. She only adjusted her miniskirt. But at the same time, she completely forgot about her blouse. The blouse was slightly unbuttoned and showed her beautiful breasts in lacy lingerie. Yang Ming slowly sighed. He tried to shift his attention, but his gaze was fixed. What are you looking at? She was indignant. I'm sorry, beautiful, I didn't notice you just now. Ian apologized politely. You didn't notice me? Okay, but where are you staring at right now? Young Min couldn't take his eyes off her beautiful breasts. Pervert. I never thought a teenager could be such a jerk. How can you behave so indecently with a beautiful girl? She was outraged. Yang Ming didn't even know what to reply. It came out very awkwardly as he was really considering her. I didn't do it on purpose and I've already apologized. I think you chose to fight with me. Jan Min tried to reassure her in some way. Hey, don't be such a narcissist, okay? Did you just call yourself a pretty girl? I'll tell you, my girlfriend is much prettier than you, Auntie, replied Jan. Auntie? Did you call me Auntie? She continued to resent it. Even though I'm in my 30s, no one has ever called me Auntie. And everyone said I looked young and beautiful. How can this brat call me Auntie? All right, I'm not going to argue, she went on. Yang Min went in search of Marie, who was looking for books in the store. Marie, you're done so soon? Of course he found it at the bookstore. Yes, I got everything I needed. She answered cheerfully. Here's something else. and Humori started rummaging through her bag for something. She obviously had a surprise. "Here, this is for you," she said, and handed him the book. And she handed him an entrance exam preparation book, to make his results even better. "I told you to buy it, but you didn't. Hey, if I don't make you work hard, will you take your studies seriously?" Marie asked. Ho, how much was it worth?" "I'll let you pay me back," added Jan. "Calm down, never mind. Take it as a gift. Doing these exercises seriously. And let me know if anything makes it difficult for you," Marie added. They left the supermarket building where they had walked around for a while after buying the books. What kind of book did you buy?" Marie asked with surprise. "An introduction to lip reading? Sign language level 1. Maria read the title of the book carefully. "Did your father ask you to buy them?" she asked in surprise. "Do you have someone in your family who is deaf-mute?" "Oh, that's not true. My father will be in a play that includes this. That's all I know." Ian was trying to think of something to say back. They waited until the bus arrived, and I, as a gentleman, let Marie go ahead. Sometimes I think gentlemen do this to look under a short skirt. Never. They were riding the bus. Jan noticed a woman he ran into at the bookstore, and they had a not very nice conversation. Since I often rode public transportation, he immediately noticed one kid. "This guy wants to touch you," he quietly warned Marin. "What makes you think that?" She was surprised. "It's written all over his face." "Let's switch places. Stand in front of me," replied Jan. "I wonder how you can be so sure of that." "Do you do this a lot too?" she asked. At that moment, a guy, taking advantage of the fact that there are a lot of people in the transport and quite crowded, pushed another girl. "Hey, what's wrong with you, pervert?" "Don't deny it, Mr. Dirty Pervert." The girl was outraged. "Shut up. I didn't touch you, Miss Ugly." Yang Ming and Mari were very close and heard this conversation too. "I've been trying to find a way to teach this guy a lesson. I just have to wait for the right time," thought Jan. And then the moment came. Yang Ming acted very quickly and carefully. He instantly reached out and grabbed the girl by her rounded buttocks and gave her a little squeeze. What was that? She was surprised. Could it be that boy? She turned and immediately slapped him. "Pervert. Why did you slap me, bitch?" The kid was outraged. A slap won't be enough. I'm gonna send you to the police because you grabbed my butt." "Grabbed your butt? I'm not that blind." He was surprised. "Cut the crap. Save your breath for talking to the police. Stop the bus," the girl screamed. "Police? That's all I need." The kid was outraged. At the nearest stop, he immediately jumped off the bus and ran away. "Good. What a rascal, a freak." The girl continued to resent him. "Marie, did you see that? Just like I said." Ian added, "Okay, you guessed it, but I wasn't his target." Marie reassured him. "Didn't you see him pushing his way into you? If I hadn't gotten between you, he would have started hitting on you. Do you believe he has such bad taste?" she inquired. That means..." Marie was thinking. "Oh, bad boy, that's not bad, that's smart." They laughed together. "How does it feel?" she asked. Not bad," answered Jan calmly. "All I was thinking about was how to get this guy out of here as soon as possible," replied Jan. "I wasn't paying attention in this emergency." Marie thought for a moment. "Marie, is something wrong?" Ian asked. "Hush, look over there." And quietly Marie added. The girl who was in the store sat down by the window and dozed off. At that time, a suspicious man started to take an interest in her. "Auntie, wake up." A familiar voice sounded. Ian immediately thought of the fact that everything done is coming back. This is a really fast retribution. Marie got close to this girl and tried to wake her up, to protect her from the danger of a stranger. Yang Ming watched all this, and saw that the strange type was not even going to retreat. "Stay out of our business or I'll stab you," the man said and took a knife out of his pocket. Marie didn't expect it, and she was very frightened. Robber, there's a burglar here, help." Marie started yelling at the whole bus. The other passengers simply ignored her call for help. Yang Ming was surprised by such indifference. "Hey bitch, nobody's gonna help you," the man said angrily. "Die." He threatened me with a knife on the bus because she felt power and impunity. "Save me, Jan," Marie screamed. And Jan, pushing aside the indifferent passengers, rushed to her aid. "Stay out of this, I'm just trying to scare this annoying bitch." What's going on? Can I really read his mind? Ian thought. Jan sneaked through the crowd of gawkers and grabbed his hand right on the blade of the knife. The passengers almost have jaws if from such a thing. Drops of blood began to drip right onto the floor of the bus, so the knife was really sharp, although it was surprising that his fingers were still in place. "Jan, your hand," Marie said. "You... What do you want?" the robber asked in surprise. "I want to beat the shit out of you," Ian replied, and I started punching and kicking this criminal. "Ouch, stop it, you're hurting me," that's all I heard him say. "How dare you steal, how dare you hurt my girlfriend?" Ian was indignant. What a real beating, it's that guy again, the girl thought. At the police station, in the pre-trial cell. "Mister, why did you get locked up?" Someone asked. Oh, it's all because of that idiot. I was close to succeeding, but that Ian guy jumped out at me and started playing the hero. The robber justified himself. That bastard. Jan, I'll kill him, the other one added. You devils, you can't even beat me. How dare you cause trouble for Brother Yang? Don't bother, Brother Yang, I'll fix you myself. The prisoner with a red mohawk on his head started knocking them down to fix them somehow. Oh God, please spare me, it's all my fault. The perp begged for help. Thank you so much. I had my passport in my wallet. I would have been in big trouble if it had been stolen. Polite. You're welcome, as long as you don't think I'm an asshole, added Jan. Passport, are you going abroad? Marie asked. Yep, for the Sino-Korean International Student Exchange Program, added the stranger, and they said goodbye. A day later, the school summarized all the exam results. Yangmin come into my office, 703 overall, that's 9th in the school. That's very doubtful. I cheated too much after all. I cheated from everyone using my X-ray vision. Ian thought, did he really write off the others? The other students were indignant. Ian Min has earned your class honors. He is our honor. Now everyone please return to your textbooks and notebooks. You screwed up, Yang Min, said Chard. The more important thing for me is that Mary would be grateful to me. Look at my beautiful smile, Mary. He added. Chard, come on, give me a smile. I like you too, Marie added. Oh no, not again. Yang Min, I am satisfied that you have become a better student. What is your study method? Let's share with me. The reason why Yang Min began to study better, you realize, of course, but he wouldn't say it. Mr. Lee, the reason why I did so well on the test is pure luck this time. Yang replied calmly. Luck? What do you mean by that? Asked the teacher. Before the exam, I did some exercises that turned out to be very similar to the questions on the test. That's why I scored so many points. Yang answered calmly. Miss Chu is a witness to that. He added, Yes, it's true. These exercises were given to him by me, she replied. I didn't really have any other advantages except that I have a great memory. I memorize everything by heart. Ian bragged. What? You memorize it by heart? The teacher was surprised. If you don't believe me, Mr. Lee, you can pick any chapter from your books and I can retell it. Yang added. Okay, I have this journal lying around. A chapter from the work, Sunbeams at Last. And the teachers opened in the right place. Yang Ming used his X-ray vision ability. Show the contents of the journal. He found the necessary bit in the text and began to say it. Surprisingly, it's all right, word for word. The teacher was surprised. Good job. I have no more questions, you can leave now, the teacher said. Yang Min, come to my office after class. The teacher turned to him. Boy, how dare you hide your abilities from me? She was outraged. Alas, Sister In was angry with him. After school, Young Min decided to go back to the study. I wonder if Sis In is still inside, he thought. I just used my X-ray vision to peek into the office. I don't even have to open the door. This is unbelievable. She's changing in her office, and that Hello Kitty underwear just fits her perfectly. What a turn-on. Yang Min was surprised. The blood vessels in his nose couldn't take it anymore, and blood started dripping. Oh God, I can't take it. I'm going home right now. And Yang Min flew home. What an exciting day today, Ian thought happily. Beep, beep. After dozing off a bit at the computer, he was awakened by a notification in the QQ messenger. I would like to add that QQ is a popular messenger in China. He opened the messenger and decided to check the messages. Sincere, are you here? Oh, it's her anyway, gotta take this. I've been gone since noon, what happened? He asked. Sincere, great, you're online, I've been waiting for you, she asked. Have you really been waiting? Don't tell me I'm your only contact in QQ, Ian added. She bugs me every time I'm online. I'd be surprised if she turns out to be a freak who wants to marry me. They kept in touch on the famous messenger. Bingo, do you feel honored? So I'm your only friend? Asked Jan. Of course not, I have other friends in my life instead of QQ. Oh, have you seen my new avatar? Isn't it freakishly awesome? Jan took a closer look at the avatar. Yeah, it's really creepy. She's creepy? Yeah, the past was creepy too, Ian added. Die, you bastard, that was the answer. Ha ha ha, she's so funny. This kind of communication amused him more than a little. As we follow the correspondences of the two young men, it's already Monday morning. There was a phone call. Mr. Chen, did you want something? Still yawning, Yang asked. Yang Min, I have 2 pieces of news for you. One about Taylor Fong, used to be called Fang Tian, that old man from prison, and the other about your case. The inspector replied. Information about my case? Ian wondered. Yes, we found the person who framed you, the inspector added. It's a waiter from the Heaven and Earth restaurant. He took full responsibility for himself and gave the details of the crime. Yangmin Chardwan is very smart. This case is now closed because of this scapegoat. He'll get away with it. I understand, replied Jan. That asshole charred out, we'll see about that, thought Jan. What's the news, Tylor? He's been released. How about we visit him together, added the inspector. So they went together to find this old man. They went to the farthest part of their town. Good thing they had the right address. Knock, 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 Mr. Fong. I'm Philip Chen, a police officer. I've brought someone to see you. The old man slowly walked to the door and with a creak opened the old wooden door. Uncle Fonda, do you remember me? Asked Yang. Oh, it's you. Come inside, rejoiced the old man. The old man coughed and moved slowly in his small house. What a poor and lonely old man. I think I should visit him more often, Jan thought to himself. Uncle Fong, you're coughing. Let me get you some water. Sit down, respectfully addressed to Yang Ming. You're always welcome. The old man replied politely. Great, I'll see you again then. Yang Min and the inspector said goodbye. Be careful, he added, and he and the inspector headed for the car. The old man thought, and began to twirl the ring on his finger nervously. It was unclear whether he was doing it to calm himself or to keep his mind focused. He kept spinning it around like a spinner. Come to me and bring the things I left you, he told his assistant. If you remember, that's the assistant who was the warden at the prison. After the old man changed his clothes, he looked like a gray-haired mob boss. I've made my choice, the old man said thoughtfully. The next day at school, Youngman was sitting at his desk as usual, a little lost in his thoughts and humming a familiar song. Youngman, what are you doing, jerking back and forth? Are you doing manual labor? He asked. Yes, handiwork, said Youngman cheerfully. Ha ha ha, you're shameless, how indecent. Marie was watching this conversation. Huh? What are they talking about? When they were walking after school, she decided to ask him, Jan, what were you talking to that student about? Why did he say that you... Marie continued to say with a little embarrassment. What? Yang asked. Hey, you know what I'm talking about. She clarified. Hey, did you mean handiwork? Jan asked cheerfully. Well, he just does too much handwork. That's how he thinks others will like it. Anyway, I was just swinging my leg and he got it wrong, calmly explained Yang Min. How do you do it? Marie asked naively. Based on a survey by a well-known organization, 90% of men have their first time with an arm. Marie added, So you're doing it after all? She asked again. Haha, I finally got a chance to tease you. You've teased me a lot, now it's my turn. Ho 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 ho, I'm very happy I was able to embarrass you, well, because you were always teasing me. You're right, I do it sometimes, but rarely, very rarely. I don't think I'm gonna do it anymore. Ian decided to remedy the situation, because now I have you and I don't have to do this. And he reached for her beautiful breasts. Yangmin, you pervert! Don't even think about me doing this to you. She was indignant. Do what to me? Ian continued to tease Marie. Don't pretend. Maria was furious with indignation and such insolence. I'll focus on studying under your supervision. That way I wouldn't have the time and energy for stupid things like that. What were you thinking? You, Yangmin, don't talk to me anymore. Maria was very embarrassed and bumped him with her bag. Shit, my testicles. As usual, it happened very quickly and unexpectedly. It hurt. And to keep from screaming, he jammed his face right into her chest. Wow, Yangmin, are you okay? She asked in surprise. Oh, that really hurts. He kept saying, I'm sorry, Ian, I didn't mean it. Let me take you to the hospital. She apologized. Don't worry, just let me stand like this and I'll be fine, I think. And he continued to nuzzle and squeeze her tender and firm breasts. What a sly one. Wow, look at those two. They're so brave. What's the unrivaled master, huh? Is that it? The teachers who passed by were surprised. It's Jan and Marie, are they in love? The teacher thought. From what she saw, she even began to have tears of the visual. Why? Why do I feel so sad? Is it possible that my heart is broken? Is it possible that I fell in love with him? The teacher thought. But I'm his teacher and we're not supposed to be together. Goodbye, my wishful, mistaken love. But the teacher thought and ran away in tears. The school children did not notice anything and continued walking. So they came to a small supermarket. Jan, are you really all right now? Marie asked. Yes, I feel much better, replied Jan. I have to stop pretending or she'll notice, he thought. Passing by a stand with daily pads, Marie remembered that her pads were out and she had to buy some. Jan, can you buy me something to drink? I'm a little thirsty. She decided to divert his attention so she could buy what she needed. Marie, what kind of drinks do you like? He asked just as she was making her choice. Well, Mr. Cohn's green tea will do, she answered, a little embarrassed. I wonder if Always or Libresse, which one is better? So much choice, which pads suit me best? She thought. Jan, I came back with green tea and saw what she was picking out. Excuse me, maybe I can give you some guidance. How much blood do you have coming out? He asked. Not too much. Marie thought she was being approached by a counselor. She turned around and was very surprised. Yangmin, it's you. It's not nice to do that. She was indignant. Forget it. Why don't you just buy tampons? He asked. Tampons? I never realized you knew so much. I can't use tampons. She replied, embarrassed. Why? Why can't you use them? Ian was surprised. I just can't. Why do you have so many questions? Maria decided to end this conversation. Jan, thanks for walking home with me, but I'll go alone from here. Otherwise they'll start gossiping here if the neighbors see us like this, said Marie. See us how? Jan clarified. Well, seeing us walking together like you don't know what I'm talking about. Marie added, Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And they said goodbye. Jan, what are you doing here? But suddenly the inspector appeared out of nowhere. Mr. Chen, what a small world. What brings you here? Asked Yang. Ho, I live here. What about you? The inspector asked. I was just walking a classmate home. Ian replied, embarrassed. A classmate? Boyfriend or girlfriend? The inspector clarified. The girl. Mr. Chen, you are like a census officer, replied Yang. Ho. Just curious. Son, hurry home and finish your homework. Entrance exams are around the corner and college will be the best place to start a relationship, added the inspector. Roger that, thank you very much, Mr. Chen. Yang replied politely. The next day at school, Maria was very excited and decided to ask. Jan, is your end okay? Embarrassed, she asked. Oh? Yang Ming was confused by such a question and in no way expected to hear it. He had to make a very sad face to make it look believable. What's wrong? Marie asked. I guess I won't be able to do manual labor anymore. Jan replied sadly. Huh? Why? What's wrong? Marie kept asking questions. Last night I learned something from some books. Marie shared. If a man has that part seriously damaged, it's a real disaster. Sorry, I shouldn't have joked that way, Marie added. After I got home, it didn't hurt so much, but there was another problem, replied Jane dryly. What kind of problem? Marie asked. I watched, adult videos, but he didn't react at all, replied Ian. Not reacting at all? She asked. He's not reacting. Dear viewers and subscribers, just please do not write in the comments that you have a reaction while watching adult movies. Thank you for understanding. But other comments, of course, write. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to go to the hospital? Jan, I'm terribly sorry. It can't be cured unless... Okay, let's forget it, he added. If what? Tell me, John, she decided to be more specific. I read it on the internet. It said that the best way to cure a man is to let the woman he loves help him. Sly Yang decided to use the situation to his advantage. I see, but does this method work? Asked the naive Marie. The internet said so. Jan answered briefly. Well, just forget it. It's not fair to you. I decided to make it up to her so she wouldn't suspect a thing. Marie felt very uncomfortable and realized she'd made a mistake. Still, she decided to help him. The guys went to the movie theater, of course. Where else can a guy and a girl be in the dark? The movie's already starting. Let's hurry up. Ian was in a bit of a hurry because he realized his plan would work. They took a suitable seat in the auditorium and waited until the lights went out. If you delay treatment, won't it become incurable? Marie asked. I don't think so. It's not cancer. A little delay won't affect my health? Slyly replied Jan. It'll be a secret between us. No one else will know unless we tell them ourselves. Still, I have to try to help you. I've made up my mind, Marie said with full responsibility. Really? Ian was surprised. He thought they were just going to watch a movie, but he liked that option too. But I've never done it, so you have to teach me how to do it? Marie replied, embarrassed. Okay, I'll tell you everything. Ian answered quietly so as not to attract the attention of the other spectators. Well, I guess just forget about it, said Ian. I think I've gone too far, he thought. No, she answered sternly. She couldn't afford to let him suffer for the rest of his life because of her stupid act. Cover it with your jacket so no one sees it, she added. Are you ready? I'm starting, she whispered. Yeah, of course I'm ready, Ian replied, embarrassed. Marie didn't take it as some kind of fun. She was really uncomfortable and took it very seriously. She struggled with her feelings. He grabbed her hand and decided to help her a little so she wouldn't have to search for him in the dark for long. Ducking under his jacket, he put her hand to his fly. She was very embarrassed, closed her eyes, and imagined what she now fumbled with her hand. She knew perfectly well that it was his tool. She began to squeeze him a little and stroke him. He responds to my touch, she wondered. So is he cured yet? Continuing to stroke, asked she. Of course not. Judging from what the site said, the treatment course must be completed to the end, otherwise it would bring negative effects. In clever words, Ian said. Marie continued to make these movements with her hand. She had not had to deal with such movements before, as she was a very well-mannered girl. Jan was so turned on that he didn't notice that he had grabbed Marie's breasts. She certainly hadn't expected that. He gently squeezed and kneaded her firm breasts as far as he could do through her bra and her jacket. "Jan, your hand, it's on my—" Maria didn't have the courage to say it all the way through. "Marie, go on," said Ian softly and pressed gently against her cheek. "Okay, just this once." Marie was clearly embarrassed. "Marie, can you please move your hand faster?" Ian asked. "I'm not a robot, my wrist is already going numb," thought Mari, but still sped up a bit. "Marie, I love you. Come on, tell me you love me," Ian said quietly as she gave him a hand job. I love you," Marie replied slowly. At that moment, something began to gurgle. I think you know exactly what it was. Great milk. The guys in the next row enjoyed a milkshake and watching a movie. "Is it over?" Marie inquired. "If it's over, then take your hand away," she replied. "Huh?" "Oh, of course." Jan apologized and immediately removed his hand. "Give me something to wipe myself with." "How can you be so inconsiderate?" she asked. "You didn't wipe it off?" Marie asked in surprise. "Can you help?" Ian decided to go all the way. "Ian, don't be so insatiable. I know what you're thinking," Marie replied sternly. Jan was very surprised. Had she really guessed it was about helping with the mouth? "Marie, now we—" Jan didn't finish his sentence. "Now we're what?" "Look, Jan, today was a special occasion," she answered right away. "It won't happen again," Marie replied. She turned her attention back to the movie. When Jan heard this answer, he was very upset. Why was he so upset? Marie thought with surprise. At least not until the entrance exams are over. Marie added. Jan was very enthusiastic. "Does this mean that she agreed to be my girlfriend after finishing the entrance exam? How else is it possible for us to do it again?" After a while, Marie came home. Apparently Dad and Mom aren't home yet, no wonder, since school ended early today. "The first thing I have to do is wash my clothes. There was a stain on my skirt from what Jan had done. I'm surprised it didn't stick to my leg on the way home. This Jan is a jerk," she thought, and with a slight movement she threw off her short school skirt. She threw her things on the floor and went on to change. I'm feeling tired. I'm gonna take a nap." It had been a very emotional day and she was exhausted. Knock, knock, knock. The mother opened the door and entered the room. Her little girl was sound asleep and didn't hear a thing. "Oh, sweetie, you must be very tired. Get a good night's sleep." Mom saw the stuff on the floor and decided to put it away right away. "You've thrown your clothes around again." "Okay, I'll wash them for you this time," said Mom. Taking the skirt in her hands, she found a very unusual stain. She sniffed it carefully. "Let me know in the comments if you do the same. It's nothing but semen." With great surprise, she thought, "Well, you know what that stain is." A little time passed and Marie woke up. Her blue underwear is just gorgeous. There was one feature that caught her eye. Did someone come into her room while she was asleep? "Where are my clothes? So Mom already took them?" She was outraged. "Jan, I'm so screwed. What am I supposed to do if Mom already found out?" Marie was very embarrassed. "Marie, what's up? Are you awake yet?" asked my mom, who was making dinner. "Not bad, Mom. Where's my skirt?" Marie asked shyly. "Oh, I washed your school uniform. Lunch is ready," Mom answered. "Marie, have you gotten a boyfriend yet?" Mom decided not to delay with the questions and asked straight to the point. A boyfriend?" asked Marie. "Of course not, Mom. I won't think about it until I get to college," she said. And then she thought, can Ian be called her boyfriend? "Okay, don't worry, I'm just wondering. Now let's eat," she said. It's natural for her to have a boyfriend at that age, Mom thought. "Boys and girls, dear students, today is the last day of your school life. Soon you will be writing one of the most important exams of your life," he went on to say. Sneaky Wang looked slyly at John and thought that today was the last day of his life. "Marie, come out with me for a word," he appealed. "What, you can't just say it here?" She was surprised. "This is very important. It concerns Yang Ming." Wang continued to keep up the intrigue. Maria was very surprised, but still agreed to go out with him. "Bitch, when it comes to Yang Min, you're ready to go out, but soon that bastard will be kicked out of school," thought Van. "Chard, what's wrong?" Marie asked. "Marie, you and Jan get along well, don't you?" Van asked. "That's none of your business," Marie replied sternly. "Well, I have some pictures, and I think they'll help you learn more about Yang Min." "What do you mean, what is this?" Marie was surprised. "You just take a look," Van replied sneakily, and handed her a stack of pictures. "You didn't want everyone to know?" she asked in surprise. Going through the pile of photos, Mary was very surprised. Could it really be Young Mi? Could it really be Ian? She continued to wonder. "How else? Or can't you recognize him?" Van asked sneakily. "Where did you get that?" Marie wondered. "I got them by accident. From the web editor. You know that the other day, Heaven and Earth called the police on a customer's promiscuous behavior at a restaurant. He took these photos in hopes of publicizing it on the internet. Since my family has stock in this restaurant, of course we didn't want this to spread and I withdrew it. Besides, I heard what Yang Min did wasn't promiscuous behavior, it was rape. Wang continued to torment Mari with his answers. How did you know all this? It was very hard for Marie to ask that. She was in tremendous pain and uncomfortable. Since the editor is a young guy, my father thought it would be better if I talked to him on behalf of my father. Wang continued to deceive. So you see, I don't want anything from you. I'm just reminding you to watch out for him. Yang Min is not an honest guy, he added. Marie snatched the pictures and ran away. Everything was raging inside her. She had never faced such deception in her life. Yang Min, you bastard. Don't dream of getting Mari's heart. But this time you're dead. Hey. Good luck with the entrance exam. Ding, 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 the end of the school day bell. Marie, why don't we go for a walk? Jan asked her. Marian was very upset. She looked at him very sharply. Her gaze seemed to cut him into small pieces. Is something wrong, Marie? He asked. Don't follow me, I don't know you, Mari replied sharply. She turned around and ran away from him. Marie, what's wrong? Why are you mad at me? Ian was surprised. You don't understand what happened. You know what you're hiding from me. Don't come near me again, I hate you, she said. What does that mean? It's strange. Ian ran through the options in his head, but he couldn't find an answer. Could it be the sneaky Wang? Maybe he told Marie something bad about me, Jan thought. It looks like I should teach him a lesson, added Jan. Damn, silly Marie. How could you believe that scumbag and not me? Ian was surprised. We were having sweet talks this morning and now you're just rejecting me. Fine, suit yourself, I don't care, Ian thought. Young Ming was leaving the school grounds in the late afternoon. No sooner had he reached the gate than someone called out to him. Yang Min, come with me, an unfamiliar voice said. I'm busy right now. Yang replied and didn't even turn around. Busy? He was surprised. Damn it, how dare you ignore me? I'm here to teach you a lesson. I confiscated your bike because of your improper parking. Just follow me if you want it back. You've ruined all my plans. I'm going for a ride with you today. And you remind me that this is the teacher who wanted to ask the teacher out. Even though this teacher wasn't particularly literate, he had quite a bit of courage as he decided to face him. Really, you've decided to get even with me? Yang clarified. At that moment, his fist whistled and flew a time lump into the face of that insolent teacher. Bang, bang, bang. A series of blows followed, Ian continuing to beat all the negativity out of him, if you could call it that. He followed up with a few more blows, and following the bloody snot, the knocked-out teeth began to leave his mouth. Bam, bam, get the bastard. Ian continued to carry out the educational work. I didn't touch you because I was busy with my happy days. How dare you provoke me? Young Min asked in surprise. At this time, in a dark alley. Didn't Kong Kim tell me to wait here to teach that asshole a lesson? But where does he go? Please be patient. Maybe we'll go and see what's wrong with him. Alright, come on, but make it quick, since he said to wait for him here. Bam bam, Yang Pro kept throwing punches. Damn, I knew about all your dirty tricks, Ian continued. Hey kid, stop a little. The bald bully turned to Ian. I instantly turned around, and instantly evaluated the situation. He immediately realized that it was this pathetic teacher's assistants. A punch, another punch, and the bald man was lying next to the teacher. Is it really Yang Ming? He was surprised. The bully remembered how Yang Ming had tormented him in prison. Derek, have you forgotten your treatment? Yang asked. Why did you suddenly stop talking? You were hired by Kong Kim, weren't you? Yang asked. Ho ho, Yang Min. So they let you out? The bully was surprised. Don't talk nonsense and watch your language, I was released before you. Yang added. Sure, I was just passing by. You were just passing by? Ian asked in surprise. And suddenly you want to play the hero? He asked sternly. Of course not. How dare I meddle in your business, Yang Min? Everyone you beat up must be bad people, he added. Goodbye, see you later, Jan Min. Derek shouted after him. Young Min turned around and went about his business. The whole family is gathered around the dinner table. You've already noticed who the girl's daddy is. Soup's ready, the mom said politely. Marie, what's wrong with your eyes? Have you been crying? Her father asked. Eyes? Oh, it's all right, it's just a speck of dust. Marina knew what to say, so she came up with the first thing that came to mind. Thank you, I won't do it again. She couldn't stand the tension and ran away from the table. Hey, go and do your own investigation, you're the expert, said Mom. Okay, investigation, added Dad. Marie locked herself in her room and cried bitterly against her pillow. She was full of unpleasant emotions, heartache, resentment, and even hatred. Maria, what happened to you? Her father asked politely as he entered her room. Marina plucked up courage and still decided to ask. Dad, can you fulfill my request? Sure, no problem. What's the favor? Speak quickly, Dad asked. She handed him the photos. And can you keep the results of this investigation secret for me? She asked. What's this? Dad took the pictures and was very surprised at who he saw there. Dad, I want you to help me. To check if there was a police raid that day. If there wasn't, maybe you can find out if these pictures are authentic or not. Marie added. These are pictures from that day. Where did you get them? My father asked in surprise, looking at the pictures. Hey, Dad, you ask too many questions. Just tell me if you're going to help me or not. Actually, the person in these pictures is a boy from my class, Marie replied shyly. A boy in your class? Is he really your boyfriend? Dad asked again. Of course not. Just an ordinary friend. Marie was very surprised by this question and tried to contain her irritation. Another boy in my class gave me these pictures today. Mari added. Oh, at least tell me the name of the boy in the picture and the name of the man who gave them to you. Do you know where he got those pictures? Dad asked. His name is Yang Min, and I got these pictures from a classmate, Chard Wang, the head of our class. He said he got them from the web editor. A picture began to form in Dad's mind. Chard Van, you've finally given yourself away. You brought out those pictures and made my daughter cry bitterly. Do you think that I'll just let you go now? Father thought. At this time at the police station, Mr. Chen, I hear you're making progress on that case? The assistant asked. Yes, Chard Van took out some photographs from that incident. The investigator answered sternly. So that means at least we can confirm that he is involved in this case. The assistant added confidently. Chard Van lied after all. It was a completely fake accident. With that, we have every reason to suspect that he was involved in the incident. The assistant realized at once. Mr. Chen, let me arrest Chard Wang right now, she said decisively. Calm down, don't make a mess, we have to check everything and act for sure. The investigator added. First, we have to meet with him and talk about it. We also have to wait for the fingerprint report from the forensic expert. The investigator added. The investigator returned home and decided he would just keep the truth from Marie so as not to traumatize her. Marie, I can now confirm what Chard Van told you is a lie, said Dad. I checked the crime record database and didn't find any rapist with the name Yang Min. So, I can say the photo is most likely, Father added. Is it really true? Mari rejoiced. But at the time, the assistant investigator was in the interview room. I think you can guess who she was working with at that moment. Let me remind you that the entrance exam is due the next day. Admit it. Did you take part in framing Youngman? And where did you get those photos? No, absolutely not. Well, I lied about the pictures. Van was trying to find a way to find the words. These photos were not from the editor. In fact, they were given to me by that waiter who pleaded guilty. Van added, telling a lie, it's not a crime, right? Oh crap, it's already 4 a.m. I have to attend the entrance exam in the morning. Wang looked at his watch. Cut the crap. You've said nothing useful all night. Now I will use the whip and candle on you until you tell the truth, strictly declared the assistant. The investigator realized that Chard Van's father was already pressuring them through his connections. It hurts, don't stop it, continued to drink Van. Chard Wang, you can leave now, but I think we'll meet again. The investigator replied politely. I hope you enjoyed your night of questioning under the bright lamp. Good luck with your entrance exams. It turned out that I was wrong about Yang Ming, but why didn't he explain it to me? Mori was surprised. At least he should have at least just called. Forget it. I'm a man with dignity. At this time, Yang Min was also thinking about it. Mister, your underpants. The surprised driver was waiting for the Chard van under the police station. Shut up! We're running out of time. Take me straight to the exam, Wang said excitedly. At that time, the entrance exams had already started. At the entrance exams are announced on a red sign. No outsiders are allowed to enter. There was complete silence in the classrooms. Only the light whistling of the wind could be heard. All the students were concentrating on their tests. With my contact lenses, I should be able to get into CJ Technical University, Young Min thought. But what was the point now? He remembered Marie saying she hated him. Okay, I'll just do it to make my parents proud. Ian thought. Yang Min exam? Do you think you can get into CJ University? Wang asked. I probably can. What about you? Yang Min asked. You know who I am. My father made a promise as long as my exam results are not too bad, added Wang. He promised that he would send me to CJ University through his connections, so we could still continue to go to school together. As they say, all grades are good for a powerful father, he thought. My father said to prepare 20 or 30 jade pendants for me. I'll be able to use them to raise girls in the university. Wang added proudly. Speaking of girls, I heard you had a fight with Mari yesterday. You know, I'm going to my father's company later. He recently received a shipment of jade pendants. Come with me, you can take one pendant for free for Mari. She will be happy about it. Wang continued to lure Yang Ming. Oh, I don't want to be such a freeloader? Ian replied calmly. Come on, we're best friends. Forget it, we'll go to Uninian tomorrow, Van added. Yes, my father is going there to expand his jade business so we can go with him. Jades? I should get the opportunity to try my luck, Jan thought to himself. They traveled to faraway Tengchun County, Yunying Province, where the jade stone is mined. It's only 9 o'clock. It's too early, let's take a walk, Sneaky Friend suggested. Hey guys, they were approached by a very pretty girl. I think you can guess what kind of services they provide. Would you like to come in and have some fun with us? She asked politely. No, immediately replied Yang Ming. He remembered very well how the last walk ended. How much do we owe? Wang asked. Shit, are you serious? What are you doing? Yang Ming asked in surprise, clearly not expecting this from his acquaintance. How else? Let's go, Yang Min, don't tell me you're still a virgin. Wang continued to insist. Of course not. Ian was indignant. Oh, I understand, don't worry, I won't let Marie know about this, it will be our secret. I'll add for myself, but I don't understand what Jan Min is still doing next to that bastard. What's the matter? What are you waiting for? Van kept insisting. He had already found 2 beauties for his amusement. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything right away, Van added. My boyfriend is here for the first time. Offer him one of the innocent girls, please. Wang turned to one of the girls. Hey, I got you one of the innocent girls. I hear they're virgins, Chard Van rejoiced. You're so lucky. I've never done it with a virgin. God, you're so direct. Not every minute is precious. Have fun, Jan, Van said and went to the room with his 2 girlfriends. Young Min calmly opened the door and walked into the prepared room. The girl immediately pounced on him and pressed down in a passionate kiss. Jan Min didn't expect such a quick reaction from such a cute girl. God, I never thought a virgin could be so active. And they continued kissing passionately. Shit, I can't resist it anymore, Young Min thought. Ouch! The girl moaned and occasionally cried out in pain. She really was a virgin, Young Min was convinced. Looking at her sleeping soundly after what happened, Young Min thought that she was still underage. Judging by her reaction, she wasn't ready for what had happened between them. Ian continued to ponder, just like the girl from the Heaven and Earth restaurant that night. I wonder if she'll be crying and making a scene when she wakes up, Ian thought. 2 demons were fighting back in his head. Just hurry up and leave quietly if you don't want to get in trouble, one was saying. You slept with her, didn't you? How could you be so cruel to leave her here? Said the other. Jan, did you have a good time? Asked Chard. If I want to take the girl out of here, will the landlady mind? Asked Jan. I don't think so, but why? Are you in love with her? Van asked. I'll explain later, but help me get some birth control pills, Jan added. The girl woke up in a room all alone, only unclear what she expected to see. Mom was right, all men are like a real animal, she thought. You chose to run away, so don't blame me for what happens next, she thought sternly. Young Min returned to the room and opened the door. The girl was very surprised to see him. Oh, you're awake now, I took some pills for you. Yang Min greeted her politely. Is that the reason you came back? Is it the pills? If that's the case, you can leave. I know how to take them, she answered. In fact, I want to suggest that you get out of here, Young Min said with confidence. Yes? And what will I do if I leave here? Immediately, this girl asked. I think you should go to school at this age. Even though your father abandoned you, you can earn a living. I'll give you 10,000 yuan, that should be enough for a while, said Yang. Will you leave me? She clarified. I don't live here, Jan added. I only came here for a couple of days. It doesn't matter, I'll follow you anywhere. The girl replied cheerfully. Young Ming was still hesitating with his decision. He wanted to help this girl and the situation was incomprehensible. You don't have to explain yourself or prove anything, she added. It's really wrong if you want to go out with me. But what I'm saying is, I don't know anything about you. All I feel for you is sexual attraction, he said. She moved closer to him and looked into his beautiful eyes. That should be enough. My name is Linda Liam. These feelings for me are bound to turn into love, she added. The clothes disappeared the moment she approached. By the way, how old are you? Ian asked. I'm 16 years old now and I can do it. Don't worry, the police won't come after you, she replied. I mean, sex is bad for the health of young girls, he added. Then why are you going at it like a wild animal? You almost killed me, Linda said. Look, you're the first one to go all wild on me, aren't you? She moved closer to him and suggested we do it again, but in a more relaxed and sensual atmosphere. They were doing it with a focus on speed and their senses. They also left the lights on to savor every emotion. Hey, you're doing this because you like me, am I right? She asked after they were done. Hey, I know what you're thinking even if you don't say it. Lukawa added, How can you know what I'm thinking? Ian was surprised. Because you're under my curse, Lukawa added. What? A curse? What the hell? Young Ming was suddenly surprised. What did you say? I'm under your curse? Are you kidding me? He jumped away from her at that moment. It wasn't me. It was my mom. When I was little, my mom put a curse on me. According to her, the curse would go to the man who took my virginity. With sadness in her voice, she added, and if this man gives me up, he will die. A horrible death. She added, really? Don't lie to me. Yang Min was surprised. I'm not lying. I'm a Hmong descendant of the witch tribe. My mom is very much a witch, she added. What do I have to do to break the curse? Yang clarified. It's impossible to take it off unless my mom can do it. She added, well, let's go to your mom's. Ian suggested calmly. There's just one problem. She's been dead a long time. She added, she died when I was 6 years old, killed by my father. Linda told me sadly. My father was a pathological gambler. After he lost everything, he made my mom pay his debt by sleeping with another player. My mom killed herself after that man abused her. Linda said sadly, why didn't your mother use her curse or her knowledge? Ian wondered. She used it. She warned that man, but it was useless. That man died, killed by my mom's curse, she added. I'm so sorry about what happened. Selling his wife and daughter, what a crazy father. Yang was surprised. My mom was afraid I'd be a betrayed man, so she put this curse on me, said Linda. Young Min gently pressed against her and hugged her affectionately. Calm down, I won't betray you, he added. When Ian went down to the front desk of this hotel, he met his buddy. Hey, Chard, good to see you, he added. God, what have you done? Did you really sleep with a lowly? He wondered. I'm not lowly, I'm Linda Liam, she answered sharply. When my father comes here, please give this money to him. Linda left the envelope with the money with the receptionist, and tell him that I've spoken to him. I am no longer his daughter. She added, God, Jan, is she really going with you? Are you serious? Van went on, shut up. I'm having a hard enough time as it is, replied Jan. It's all your fault. How can I explain this to Marie? Asked Jan. I kept that secret for you. And Van patted his chest. I think you can guess how good he is at keeping secrets. A secret? Will it work? But that's not important. More importantly, can I break the curse? Ian thought. I'll make a bed in my father's room, so I'll leave you two alone, said Van. But as soon as he was out the door, he heard heavy breathing and someone's moans. Not 5 minutes later, he was back. Why did you come back? Ian was surprised. I heard something from behind my father's door and worried about my pocket money. I decided it was best not to leave it unattended. Okay, we'll split this room 3 ways, but me and Linda will share a bed, added Jan. Don't worry about me. Just do whatever you've already had time to plan, added Van cheerfully. Heh, ignoring me. He asked Linda. Shut up. I know you want to see a live performance. Why didn't you go to your father's room if you want to see it so badly? Ian added. In the evening, as they had agreed, they went to separate beds, but the problem was that they were very close. Jan went to bed with Linda. She took off my panties. Ian was surprised. What are you doing? He asked in a whisper. Behave quietly without attracting attention, she replied, and she got right down to business so she could savor every moment. Hey, what are you doing? Chard's right next to us, Ian noticed. Shh, be quiet, she whispered. Shit. Why does this happen always around other people? My first time was at the movies, and now it's near Chard, who sleeps next to us. Ian was surprised. What is this? What happened? You got me all wet, Ian was surprised. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I'm so horny I even peed my pants, she replied timidly. Please don't move, stay inside me. I really want us to fall asleep like this, she added. But I have to take a shower, I'm all sticky, Ian said in surprise. I'm fine with it, let it be. Linda calmed him down. Linda was hot. They continued it again that night. Let's take a shower together. In the morning, Ian suggested it. He picked up the little girl in his arms, and without waiting for her positive answer, carried her to the shower. After Linda returned from her shower, she was simply amazed at what their bed had become. Don't worry, the hotel staff will change the linens a little later. They'll clean up, said Chard. Huh? Did you see that? Yangmin and Linda were surprised. No, I didn't see anything, but I heard everything. You were very loud. Sorry, but I'm not deaf, Chard added. All the boys gathered around the dinner table. A fat man who looked like a hamster asked, Who is this guy? Oh, that's my girlfriend. She's here to see me, Ian answered calmly. Look, Jan already has a girlfriend. What about you? Adult movies, girls' night out, and handjobs, can't you do something useful? This chubby guy is Chard's dad, and his name is Jason Chung. Well, I was thinking of doing something useful. So last night I went to your place. But when I went to your door, I was startled by the screams, answered Van. Why, for that purpose, you went to my room, Jason wondered. It's great, that girl, Yana. Here, later I'll give you another 20,000 yuan, so you can have fun, father added. Later I'm going to the stone market for some random shopping. Jan, did you say you were interested in this? Jason asked. Yes, I want to expand my horizons. Then let's go together, answered Jan. They went to the stone market. A large number of people walk under the scorching sun and try their luck by selecting raw jade stones. Oh wow, jade, that's jade. What luck? Exclaimed separately from the buyers. How valuable are jades? Yang asked. The price of one stone is only 500 yuan, but a raw jade like this can be worth more than 2 million yuan, replied the experienced Jason. Moreover, it can be worked into a pair of bracelets and 2 pendants. In total value, they could be worth 5 million yuan. At once, Jason made an estimate. How do you get a payback ratio of 10,000%? What an incredibly profitable industry. Ian was surprised. You're right, but finding jade is a very rare chance. You see that mountain of rocks? There's probably not a single jade in there, said the bazaar worker. Mr. Wu, bring me some rocks to try my luck, said Jason. Jan decided to use his X-ray vision. He walked for a long time between these piles of rock, scrutinizing the stones to see through them. It's fucking jade, Ian noticed among the piles of rock. Mr. Wu, what about the stones in this pile? Yang Ming asked. Oh, it's scum. There's hardly a gem in there. They are priced at a maximum of 100 yuan each. Mr. Wu replied. I see. In that case, can I buy some pieces? I don't know anything about them, but I just want to try to cut something. Yang added. Ian, take whatever you like and put it on my tab. Jason replied politely. Come on, Mr. Chung, it's just leftover garbage, let him take it for free. Mr. Wu added. Yang Ming. Just what I was waiting for. Son, pick anyone you like and accept it as my gift. He added. Thank you very much, Uncle Wu. Yang replied. Fool. If you want to try your luck, pick from the expensive pile. This pile is already all worked up. Chard decided to give him a hint. It doesn't matter, I just want to get experience in it. Yang replied politely. He didn't need any hints or advice, for he had found his stone, and he clutched it tightly in his hand, not wanting to part with it at all. Okay, I'll pick a few stones too and see whose luck has smiled on. Chard added. If you get the jade, you will get a reward from me. It will be a car. Father added. Great, the car is worth 100,000 yuan at least. Chard replied. Linda had been nearby the whole time and was enjoying a cold ice cream. She was a little shocked and had no way of knowing what these guys had found in that pile of rocks. Make sure you pick this rock, she decided to advise, although no one asked her advice. What do you say about this stone? Yang clarified. This one is not necessary, she answered calmly. How do you know? Ian asked in surprise. I was born with a very accurate sixth sense. My father used it in gambling, but it doesn't work if I use it too often, Linda told me. God, curse along with a sixth sense, this Linda Liam is an absolutely extraordinary girl, thought Ian. Shh, you just don't tell the others about it, he added. Jan. Linda wanted to address him. He didn't listen to her and interrupted her halfway through. But what would others think if both stones had jades? One jade can be attributed to luck, but what about 2 stones? A coincidence? That would raise suspicion. Yang added. I'll take these 2 stones, said Young Min. Ho-ho, and I pick a couple of pieces too, said the boys to Mr. Wu. This evening, the hotel has vacant rooms tonight, so you can get your best room. I'll go to my room and polish the stones I've chosen. Downloaded Chard. Jan, this morning when you were choosing the stones, what method did you use to judge the quality? Do you also have a sixth sense like me? Linda asked. No, I'm just lucky, Jan replied cheerfully. Fine, don't tell me if you don't want to, she added. Well, it's not like that. My situation is special. It's not so easy to explain, replied Ian. But Linda was already offended and didn't want to hear any excuses. Where are we going? She asked. To the bookstore. I want to buy some books to learn more about jade, replied Jan. Ian reviewed a large number of books and immediately realized that each professor, a different opinion on the matter. Each of them stick to their own arguments in jewelry. What should one choose? Pondered he. Young man, is something wrong? You're frowning all over. The older man asked him. Oh, sir, I want to learn something about jades, but I don't know where to start. Yang replied politely. Oh, it's not that hard. These books are written by collectors. Each collector has their own unique preferences, so of course there are many different books available. He adds. But the value of gems is always set by these collectors, isn't it? Jan clarified. Not always. The older man replied and went to look for a particular book. If you're really interested in it, you can start with the texture of jade. This book will help you with that, the salesman said and handed the book to him. Ho ho, it must be amazing for you. This valuable book is a real antique, joyfully replied the seller. Thank you, mister. I will definitely read it. Thanked him Yang Min. I gotta go. This is my business card. Just call me if you have any questions, the salesman added. To see that a young man likes to learn is very rare. The elderly salesman rejoiced. Wilson Lowe? I've never heard that name before, but he's definitely an expert in the jade industry. Jan noticed as he studied his business card. Hey, Linda. Jan found her among the many bookshelves. He came up behind her and gently slapped her butt. Linda, are you reading something? He asked. You scared me, she said. At that time, she was looking at the bridal instruction book. Damn, she doesn't feel embarrassed at all, thought Jan. Jan, look, there are so many different sex positions, we should try them all. How about we try some tonight? She asked. Linda, keep your voice down. Don't let the others hear it, Ian whispered. Don't they have sex? Besides, the book is published to be read and discussed, right? Linda was completely misunderstood. What a girl. Is she really that naive, or is she just pretending, Jan thought. This is very personal stuff, let's just keep it between us, okay? He added. I get it, I'm not going to talk about it. But still, we'll buy the book, she insisted. That's when I noticed the cashier of this store staring at them. I don't want the cashier staring at me weirdly. Buy it? Well, no, let's watch an adult video when we get back, he added. An adult video? That's great. Are we going to watch them tonight? Yes, now let's go back. Joyfully, she replied. Awesome. You even bought the book. Why are you so interested? Chard wondered when everyone got home. Oh, Jan, it looks like you're very interested in the jades, said Jason. Yes, Uncle Chung. I'm thinking about shopping at random. Maybe I can save up for my tuition. Buying at random, yes, it's all about luck in this business. But if you want to earn your tuition through that, it's going to be tough. Jason added. I realize that. That's why I wasn't planning on getting heavily invested in this case. Ian added. Okay, just contact me if you have any questions. By the way, what book did you buy? Jason asked. Wow, it's pretty rare. You're good at choosing books. This book is one of the most suitable for beginners like you, he added. Ho ho, except I didn't pick it. I passed a man in a bookstore, and he recommended it to me, Yang added. I see. This man must be an expert, said Jason. Uncle Chung, have you heard of Wilson Lowe? Yang Mi asked immediately. Wilson Lowe? Did you say his name was Wilson Lowe? Jason grabbed him with both hands. Why, is he famous? Young Ming couldn't understand what was going on. Of course, he is a master in jade carving and a leading jade expert recognized by a wide range of people. He also does consulting for many jewelry businesses, Jason added. I invited him over several times, but it was in vain. You know, jades are always worth a lot more if they're recognized by him, Jason told him. Uncle Cheung, this Mr. Lowe gave me his card. He said I could call him if I had any questions. Do you think I should call him? Jan clarified. Of course. Mr. Lowe rarely gives out his business cards. Jan, this is a very good opportunity. Jason was already getting a taste of wealth. If you consider becoming his apprentice, you will definitely become a new star in the jewelry industry, Jason added. Well, it's too early to tell. Maybe that's not what Mr. Lowe meant. Ian reassured him. By the way, Jan, where are your stones? Asked Chard while he was polishing his stone. Or do you not want to mention them because you found out you have regular stones? Decided to play a prank on Chard. Ian had already used his X-ray vision to see that the Chard had agate inside. But I haven't started polishing my stones yet, he replied. Ho ho, then hurry up and polish them. When you're done, we'll give them to my father to test, Chard added. Don't be so proud, there may be jade in my stones, said Ian. What the hell? In the middle of the night, someone screamed from inside the house. It's a real Nifefriti, Jason's father shouted. What? Jade? Uncle Chung, are you sure? Yang jumped back and skillfully tried to feign surprise. Of course I'm experienced. I didn't expect you to have such good luck, Jason cheered. What can I tell you? Jan won, so no car. He answered his son sternly. Well, I'm satisfied that you're interested in jade, so I'll still buy you a car. He reassured his son. Yang, this is a medium-grade jade. If you sell it as a rough gemstone, its price will be around 200,000 yuan. What do you think? Jason asked. I don't even know what your advice would be, Uncle Chung, Yan asked. As a businessman, of course I want you to sell it to me, but as your uncle, I don't advise you to sell it directly, Jason replied. What I mean is, you can transfer the jade to my workshop to remake it into several pieces of precious jewelry. Then them for sale, you can get about 800,000 yuan, he added. It'll be great. Uncle Chung, I'll leave it to you, and the profit. Let's split it 50/, Yang suggested. Come on, son, I'm not going to take your money. If you want to share, a 10% processing fee will suffice, Jason added. No problem, Uncle Chung. By the way, can I keep one of the necklaces for myself? Asked Yang. Of course they are yours, added Chung. Just let me know what pattern you like so we win it on it, added Chung. At this time, Chard kept pouting because he doesn't have that kind of luck. I've had sex with him many times, but he's never given me a gift. Isn't he a little stingy? I wondered. Well, for now that stone will be safe in the safe, said Jason. Jan Min thought about trying here for 3 days now. I should call my parents. Son, how are you doing? I'm doing great. You don't have to worry about me. How are you and Daddy? He asked. We're fine. Listen, son, your classmate just called. Classmate? Jan clarified. But he wondered if it could be Marie. That was Marie. She asked you to call her when you got back. Mom answered. I got it. I'll definitely do that. Ian answered immediately. She's a nice girl. Let's take her out to dinner after you get back. I asked her opinion and she said yes. Mom added, Shoo shoo, Linda is sneaking up behind me. As the old proverb says, you can't keep your own kind and eat into it at the same time, thought Yang. Jan, what are you thinking about? And Linda suddenly hugged him from behind. He was very uncomfortable and he pushed her away a little bit. I'm all sweaty, careful not to get dirty. I'm going to take a shower, he said. He had a lot of thoughts running through his head. I heard the whole thing, I'm just pretending. Should I tell him that? Linda wondered. The next succeeding morning in the house began with anxious cries. My God. What? The jade is gone? With anxiety in his voice, Ian asked. Yeah, when my dad woke up, he found he was gone. Let's go and check it out. Chard told me worriedly. When did you notice the jade missing? What time did you last see him? The police officers were already doing their job. When I woke up this morning and opened the safe, he was gone. The last time I saw him, I put him in the safe. Jason answered anxiously. Did anyone enter your office after you put the jade in the safe? The policeman asked. Well, I was calling a girl for the night. Jason felt a tremendous amount of guilt. What was her name? Do you have her number? The police officer continued to ask questions about the case. Yeah, I have her business card. She said her name was Lily. Jason answered and handed the policeman her business card. Well, just stay in the hotel and wait for our message. We will continue the investigation, the policeman replied. Thank you, gentlemen of the police, Jason added. Uncle Jason was very embarrassed. He felt awkward, and all the other boys were very embarrassed too. Jan, I'm sorry for losing your jade. Jason tried to find the words. Never mind, Uncle Chung, the police are working on it now. Let's just expect good news. Calmed him down, Yang reassured him. Even if the police can't get him back, I won't blame you, be sure. So never mind that, we'll just wait, added Jan. Jan, I think it's very strange, she said with a serious expression. What are you talking about? Ian was surprised. I mean, Jade. The strange thing is how it disappeared. Despite the fact that I had only been an overnight girl for 1 day, I had heard other girls talk about how they usually don't touch customers' suitcases because they rarely put valuable things in them. Slowly undressing, Linda said, You mean Uncle Chung stole it? Yang decided to clarify. No, as you know, I have a sixth sense and I have no doubts about Uncle Chung. She added, What a pity. I was planning to use the jade to make a necklace for you, added Yang. For me? Linda was surprised. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm happy you thought of me. Linda was pleased and even a little embarrassed. Still, even if I can't get it back, I'll find another one and make you one. Ian didn't finish. At that moment, Linda's bra flew at him. What is that? What are you doing? He was surprised. Honey, do you mind what I'm doing? She asked affectionately. She pressed her naked breasts against him. Ooh, ow, oh my God. I can't hold back any longer. Like a beast, he roared. Ouch, I beg you, be gentle, Linda added. The police immediately found the suspected girl and brought her to the station for questioning. Is that her? Yeah, that's definitely her, Jason confirmed. I can see her thoughts, Ian thought. What's with the jade? I have no idea what he's talking about. If that damn fatty's trying to set me up. Since she thinks of it in that light, she's not a thief, that's for sure. Ian thought for sure. The inspector shakes his head negatively. As we found out, she had nothing to do with it. We checked her purse. It's too small to hold a stone of that size. The policeman adds. Besides, when we went to see her, she was getting ready to meet a new client. So the suspicion of her is pretty much eliminated, added the cop. Fatty Jason was upset by that answer. We have reported the case to the police station, and the investigators will be here tomorrow. You will have to give them the information they require. Please do not move anything in your hotel room, especially your suitcase, the policeman added. Yang, come with me to the bank. I'll also give you 200,000 yuan. Fatty felt he might be suspected. Don't be in such a hurry, Uncle Chung. The police are still working on it, replied Yang. Jan, it's a small sum for me. I'll feel guilty to you if I don't do it. Do you think I'm deceiving you? said the fat man. Of course not, why would you think that? If you wanted to cheat me, you would say that jade is useless and buy it from me at a low price. That would be much easier. I've never had any doubts about you, said Jan. It's a relief to hear you say that. But you needn't worry, Jan. If it is not found in the end, I will pay you the price we discussed, said the fat man. Uncle Chung, tomorrow when you go to the market to me, can I go with you? Asked Yang. Of course. Do you want to try your luck again? Right, but I'm also interested in it. No problem, but then I'll pay for you. Thank you, but I want to pay on my own. That way it will motivate me. Okay, that sounds convincing. The next day, the three friends, together with the fat man, went to the stone market, a huge room where the stones are piled up, and each one is looking for the right stone. Wow. I was hoping to collect a whole bag of jades, but it doesn't look substantial. Most of the stones are in the center or at the bottom of the pile. Of course, it's a bad idea to set aside all the stones and pick from the center. I'll arouse suspicion if I do that. Yang Ming used his X-ray vision and had already scanned most of the piles. See you later, shouted his friend, and he left with Uncle Chung. The price of the stones is 1,000 yuan per 1 kilogram. I have 1,000 yuan. That's enough for 10 kilograms. Yang Ming was thinking, even if there is no jade here, it would be good luck to find a bag of high-quality agates. The red-haired guy with the small glasses picked up the stone and began to examine it carefully, hoping to find the gem. Oh my god, my luck is evaporating before my eyes. Yang Min became worried. His girlfriend didn't understand why he was acting like this. The red-haired guy tossed that stone aside and Yang Ming immediately noticed it. Hey, there are so many rocks here, do you have to climb here? Another stone hunter asked. Yang Ming ran through the hall and picked up this stone. What an idiot! This stone was cast by my master, laughed the other stone hunter. Master? You idiot. The value of this stone is hundreds of thousands. Ian thought to himself as he took this stone. I also found some high-quality agates. Of course, I used regular stones too to avoid suspicion. He put the bag on the scale. It was only 5 kilograms, 11,500 yuan. Jan, what are you going to do with the stones? Are you going to open them here or take them with you? The fat man asked. What will you do, Uncle Chung? Yang asked. I will send my stones to the city. He replied, when I send my stones along with yours. The next day, they'd just woken up and in the yard they could already hear them talking. Linda, get up, we have a plane to catch. Sonia, get up, you can take a nap later on the plane, said Jan. Okay, I'm up already, she answered cheerfully. Ian was a little surprised that she slept completely naked. Is your luggage already packed? Does it need to be double-checked? Jan asked Linda while she was in the shower. Using his X-ray vision, he heard his friend's thoughts. It seemed to him that in his thoughts she was talking to someone. Maybe she has schizophrenia, he thought. In a short time, they were already in the city of Songjiang. Remember, it was to this city that they had sent their precious stones. The first thing they did was to go to a real estate agency in Taigria to look for the necessary accommodation. Which one of you is the prospective tenant? I'm a student at CJ University and my girlfriend is from out of town, so she needs to rent a house nearby, said Jan. Let me see, just a second. Professor Lowe, I've brought you some prospective tenants, said a woman from the agency. Okay, let me show you around, said Professor Lowe. Yang Min recognized him. Professor Lowe, what a small world. You're the same young man from the bookstore. Surprised Professor Lowe. Ho, do you still remember me? Asked Ian. Son, what brings you to this town? So you're the potential tenant? Asked the professor. I went to an institute in this town and the tenants are me and my girlfriend. The fat lady was grunting something under her nose. It was hard to make out. Wow, you have a pretty girl, remarked the professor. Hey, are you going to rent or not? A woman from the agency became indignant. Well, we already know each other, so we won't give you any trouble, said the professor. The fat woman at the agency ran back to her office, grunting something to herself. Come on, I'll show you your apartment. So do you, Mr. Lowe, teach at CJ University? Asked Yang Min. That's right, I give lectures there, he replied. Here we are. The professor opened the door and let the boys into the apartment. It's beautiful, it's as good as new. No one has ever lived here before? Ian asked. This house was prepared for my son. I never thought he would do this. Well, the past is the past, said the professor. It's a wonderful place. Professor Lowe, let's make a lease agreement, suggested Yang Ming. Oh, forget the agreement. You can live here for free. I look forward to you taking care of this place. The professor just waved his hand. Don't think about it too much. I have no other motives, said the professor. I just wanted to find someone reliable to look after this house. But let me make one thing clear. If you make a mess in the house, I will kick you out, said the professor. Ho ho, Professor Lowe, you can rest assured it won't happen. Yang calmed him down. It's strange. Such a wonderful house, so why wouldn't the son live here? Linda scrutinized a huge picture of her son with some girl. Oh, just take that picture down, I don't think they're coming back here, said the professor. Okay, I'll do it later. Thank you, beautiful accommodation. Thanked Janmin. The keys are right here, see you again, said the professor. Linda, what are you thinking about? Jan asked her, when they were alone together. I think I've seen them before, Linda replied with surprise, pointing to the picture. Really, I've definitely seen them before, she thought. They look very familiar to me, but I can't remember them. Okay, never mind, let's take this picture. She suggested it. Okay, unpack, I'm going to my house, said Yang Min. Sure, I'll wait for you, replied Linda. Should I call Maria? Jan wondered when he found himself on the street in the middle of the city at night. Oh, I'll have to forget about that. Not to mention the curse. Besides, will Mari agree with Linda? And will Linda agree with Marie? Ian continued to think. The next day, John decided to visit his old friend, real. It's great to see you, but what brings you here? Asked the old friend. Mr. Fong, I just came back from Yunnan province and brought some local food for you, said Yang. Thank you for remembering me, son. The old man thanked him. At that moment, the phone rang just as Jan was chatting with the old man. Jan, where are you? Weren't you supposed to come to my house today? I've just arrived, come to my father's company. It was his friend who called. Yeah, thanks, I got it, I'll be there soon, replied Jan, but the old man was clearly up to something. He didn't like him leaving so soon. Is your friend waiting for you? Asked the old man. Yes, a good friend, replied Yang Min. Have you tried random shopping in Yunnan? The old man asked. Yes, I was curious, replied Yang. You have to be very careful. Someone's been paying close attention to this business lately. Well, never mind. You haven't invested much, so they won't bother you, said the old man. Mr. Fong, what are you talking about? What is the meaning of this? Yang Ming was surprised. I've heard that some people are into stealing jades, but you don't have anything good on your hands, so don't worry, replied the old man. What the hell? My stone was stolen. Could Mr. Fong be involved in this? No, it can't be. He was released from prison just recently, and since then he has been at home all the time. Yang thought. Well, after meeting the old man, he went to meet his friend, and in the carriage he saw a pretty girl. This girl looks familiar if I've seen her before. He scrutinized the pretty girl. It's him. What a small world. Does he really recognize me? She thought. Please, sit down, I'll be out soon. He politely invited the girl to sit down. Please accept my offer, it's good for my health to stand. He obviously recognized this girl. Thank you. Pretty girl decided to take a look at him. In a moment, the electric train had already stopped, and in that instant, she sat down on a chair. Here, it is unclear what happened, whether by inertia he was pushed by the carriage and he buried his nose in her breast, or he just wanted to do it. I'm sorry, the train stopped so suddenly to... He apologized. It's okay. She replied, This scene looks a little familiar. I'm sure I've seen her before, but I can't remember where I've seen her. Dear viewers and subscribers, and you have already remembered where he saw this girl. If yes, write in the comments. Yang Min wanted to start a conversation. Sorry, this is my stop. Goodbye. The girl replied and headed for the exit. Bye. He replied. A bunch of people also suddenly appeared and were also heading for the exit. Yang Min finally arrived at his friend's house in his father's company. Why are you so late? My father's in a meeting right now, so it'll have to wait a little longer. At that moment, there was a knock on the door, and a beautiful girl entered. Is Mr. Chung in the office right now? She asked. Her purple bra was falling out of her blouse. Mr. Chung, what do you need him for? Asked the boy. It must be another one of my father's mistresses, he thought. I had an appointment with him. I didn't see anyone outside, so I walked in. The pretty girl replied politely. Father, where are you? There's a visitor in your office. A visitor? Who is he? Mr. Chung was surprised. How should I know? This woman, maybe she's your lover. He answered. Ha. Do I really look like a lover? She laughed. Bean, what a stupid thing to say, laughed Jan. What is it? He was surprised. I've known her for a long time, so I don't think she's your father's mistress, said Yang Min. Charlotte, what brings you here? Asked Jan. I came to buy something, of course, she replied. Last time you said you were in an international exchange program, how did it go? Asked Jan. Oh, it went well. I just got back yesterday, she replied. My grandfather very soon will have a birthday, so I came here to buy a gift for him. She added, "Wow, what a mistake I just made," he thought. After a while, the door opened and Mr. Chung came in. "Oh, Miss Xiao, it's good to see you." He said, "Hello, Mr. Chung." She said, "Hello. I came to check on how my order was going." She jumped up from the couch and stepped closer to him. "Well, Miss Yao, I must disappoint you and apologize," said the fat man. "I received a jade that met your requirements, but by bad luck it was stolen." The fat man continued to make up nonsense. "I see, don't worry about it. It's just that my grandfather is interested in these things, so I wanted to give him one as a token of my esteem. Anyway, it doesn't matter much to him." She said right away, "Now I'll say goodbye. Call me if you have any good news," she said, flashing her big breasts and lush hips. "Uncle Chung, what does Charlotte do? How does she buy such expensive things?" asked Yang. "Strange. She told me she works as a teacher. But how can a teacher overpower the price of hundreds of thousands of yuan worth of jade?" He thought. "I don't know. I think you know more than I do. If your jade hadn't been stolen, you could have sold it to her for a good price," Fatty Chung muttered. "By the way, Jana, your stones have arrived. Do you want my factory to process them or do you want to see it yourself?" Mr. Chung asked. "I want to see. This could be exciting," joyfully said Yang Min. "Look, it's real jade." There were loud cheers in the factory. "You've got jade again, it's unbelievable luck." "Yang," the gawkers marveled. "Surprisingly, this jade is even better than before." Mr. Chung was surprised. "Gosh, why are you so lucky?" surprised Ben. "Ha ha ha ha, I'm a really lucky guy," Yang Min said happily. "I roughly estimated. Its value is about 2 million yuan, much more than the previous one," Mr. Chung said with a smart look. "Really? It's like a hidden blessing." Yang Min rejoiced. "Don't worry. This theft incident won't happen again. I will send the jade to the bank for safekeeping right away. Besides, if the police still can't find the stone, I will compensate you," Fatty Chung said. "My master, you're back. What kind of master am I?" He was surprised. In the evening, after a long day of work, he was greeted by Linda. "I found out about it on TV. Linda was watching some movie and there was this line about my master. Come on, you're my master. You can kill me with your curse any time. How do you like it here? Are you getting used to this place?" He picked me up and carried me to the bedroom. "I couldn't sleep well without you. Jan, can you stay here tonight?" she asked. "I'm afraid not. If I stay the night, my mom will be mad. Just wait until I pass the entrance exam at the institute." "Are you afraid of being alone?" said Jan. "No, don't worry. I'm used to being alone. Besides, I'm a master of curses. Of course I'm not afraid," she replied. "Oh, bad girl, I'll punish you," Ian said mysteriously. "Yang, come on, punish me. Come on, punish me. Let me undress," she began to playfully say. "The city has already fallen into the darkness of night. Professor Lowe, I came to see Linda, so I'll be here for a while," said Yang. "Welcome. Betty, I'm going to have a talk with Jan so you can start working on the invitation cards first," said the professor. "Invitation cards? Professor Lowell, are you having some kind of party? Is your son back already?" asked Yang. "Uh-huh. If only he'd come back. Look, 6 years ago, on the eve of his wedding, my son, his fiancée, suddenly disappeared," told the professor. "Missing?" Ian was surprised. "Unfortunately, yes, I was grief-stricken, but life still goes on faithfully," replied the professor. "Invitation cards, ho-ho. They're for my birthday next month. I wasn't planning on celebrating it, but a few of my friends and students insisted that I should throw a party. Come to my birthday party if you have time. Some professors from the university will also come. It's a good chance for you to prove yourself," said the professor. "Am I disturbing you?" "I'm still so young and inexperienced, right?" asked Yang. "It's not a problem. My adopted daughter and my students will be there. There will be a lot of young people there," said the professor. "Thank you very much. I will definitely come." Young Min thanked him. "Jan, why don't you answer my calls? Are you with Linda now?" They were messages from Marie. "Remember my father promised me a car? Come with me tomorrow to pick it up," wrote Bean. "Fuck off, I'm home now," replied Jan. "Jan, are you online right now?" At that moment, there was another message from Maria. Jan clearly didn't want to talk to her right now, so he turned on the invisible status so it wouldn't show that he was online. The next day, Jan met with Bean. "It's almost noon, it's probably break time now. Let's go get the car after lunch." Bean suggested it. "I'll tell you a secret. I was hanging out with a hot chick the other day," Bing said cheerfully. "Yeah, can you believe it? And in a nude video chat room." Bean felt like he was floating on air from that story. Jesus Christ, said Jan. Come on, let me show you her profile picture. Bean suggested it. It's Jessica Cho. Young Ming was surprised when he saw a picture of a familiar girl on the computer, just because she snitched on me and saw me. Young Min remembered, and her phrase came to his mind. You don't study as hard, but you still get good grades on your exams. I envy that. She was the best student in my class. Are you serious about her getting naked in a video chat with you? Asked Yang. Yes, I told her my name is Yang Min, laughed Bean. You asshole, outraged Yang. Not hot, she said her name was Sue Mi. So I videotaped the whole thing, except this flash drive is my apology, Bean reassured him. Ian picked up the flash drive and a brilliant idea popped into his head. Jessica Chow. You're screwed, he thought. The next day, Bean was already with the car. Most likely the car buying process had been skipped. Jan, let me take you to school so you can apply for college. Good boy, replied Jan. You earned hundreds of thousands of yuan from Jade. Why don't you buy yourself a car? Asked Bin. Why should I spend money on a car? I have you as my driver, replied Yang. As they approached the school, Ian saw an old acquaintance and immediately called out to him. Hey, Chard. It's been 2 weeks since we last saw each other. How are you doing? Ian asked. Oh shit, what's wrong with this Ian? Chard thought. How did your entrance exam go? No problem getting into Tsinghua or Beijing University, right? Asked Yang. Damn it. Of course I should have gotten into Tsinghua or Beijing University. I never thought I would be in this situation, he thought. I don't think I can even get into a third-tier university. I'm only getting into CJ Unified School University. What a pity, marveled Yang. Haha. What you sow is what you reap. You're a great example of that, thought John. That's good for me. What about you? Where are you going to go? Chard asked. I'm applying to CJ University, and Bean has applied to CJ Unified like you. Great, it turns out that the three of us can continue to go to the same school. Chard's happy. Well, now I have to get to class, replied Yang. Damn, this bastard will continue to be my classmate, he thought. It's just great that you couldn't go to Beijing. I've prepared well to get back at you. The closer you get to me, the easier it will be, Yang thought. When they went up to the classroom, Bean said, Jan, Marie is sitting in the classroom. Why don't you go up to her and talk to her? And don't tell me you don't love her anymore. It was at this time that Marie noticed them and decided to walk closer to them and say hello since she hadn't seen him in a while. Shut up, it's not true, in fact. Before Jan could finish his sentence, Maria came up and called out to him. Ian realized it. He heard that she had come up and was already very close right behind his back. It made him feel very uncomfortable. Yang, I heard you went to Yunnan. When did you come back? Why didn't you contact me? I was looking for you, I told Maria. I've been back for 2 weeks. Ian was choosing his words and thinking as he went along what to say. Let me remind you, this is after that young and beautiful girl did his handiwork at the movie theater. I was busy, so I didn't check my messenger messages, replied Jan. Have a seat, Marie, suggested Bean. How did you know I was messengering you? Marie wondered. Bin used my account and told me that. Ian was trying to think of something. Okay, I'm not complaining. By the way, which university did you choose for admission? She asked. Marie, didn't you know that? Jan was very surprised to hear her ask that question. Just like Bin, I applied to CJ University, said Yang. But I'll go to a merged school with that university, ho-ho, added Bin. That's great. Then we'll be classmates, Marie said excitedly. I apologize, but it's like they have one university for the whole town. Jan, our teacher is organizing a class meeting. Will you come? Suddenly a chart appeared from somewhere. If Marie goes, I'll go too. I'm the head of the class, of course I'll go. Then I'll go too. All three of them answered. The fee from all participating is 20 yuan per person. Chard said it right away. Yang handed him 100 yuan and said, This is for the three of us. Let them keep the change. Hey, Yang, did you recently receive a large fortune? Chard asked with a smile. Speaking of wealth, who can compare to your family? Ian waved his hands. Ha, but I have to graduate before I can enter this state, replied Chard. Released? I'd be surprised if your family's organization survives until then. Ian thought mysteriously. I have a car, by the way. Do you need a ride anywhere? We can stop at the supermarket, said Chard. Oh, thanks, but Ben has a car too. We'll take it. John grabbed Maria's hand and they headed for the exit. They got into the car, and as they drove along, they had the awkward sensation of sitting next to each other. No one said a word. The car was completely silent. In the silence of the car, you could hear the heartbeat. It was hard to distinguish who had a stronger heartbeat. Jan couldn't stand it any longer and grabbed Marie's hand. Hey, you two, don't be such a drag. Don't act like strangers to each other. You can't just ignore me. Bin turned around and indignantly said that. Keep your eyes on the road. We need to buy groceries. First thing we'll do is stop at the supermarket. At that moment, Jan's phone rang. Honey, where are you? This message came to him from Linda. It's a little unclear. It's probably the difficulty of translation from the original, because on the screens he is addressed as Michael and Jan, but in order not to confuse further, I will call him Jan. Is something wrong? Marie was surprised when she saw that he'd gotten the message. Yang was in a very uncomfortable position. He was about to say something, but he was saved by Bin. We've arrived, ready to go shopping, he asked. Walking through the stores, they felt very awkward, as they had missed each other for a long time and didn't know where to start socializing. I think some of you have been in this situation too. Let's take this appetizer, it should be delicious, Jan suggested. Okay, I just wanted to mention that. Marie replied cheerfully. I think their communication was starting to take off. Interesting, look at them. They have the same tastes, and look at you. Everything I love, you don't love. How can we live together? A couple of shoppers were discussing. Those eyes finally meet. Judging by the background, you either realize it or you don't. Let me help you, it's unclear whether I'm pushing the cart or her. I think you realize he's missed her for a long time. As soon as he pressed himself against Maria, the phone vibrated. Very lucky call, silly Bin. Ian was indignant. He pulled out his cell phone and was very surprised since it was his friend Linda calling. Hey, why are you calling? He stepped aside a little and asked it quietly. Jan, I've started my period. Can you please buy me some sanitary pads? I can't go out. I'm using toilet paper now. It's killing me, said she. Okay, of course I'll bring them to you. Ian replied. He was clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Is something wrong? Why is he so nervous about answering the Bean's call? Marie wondered. Nothing. Nothing. Bean was just asking where we were. Ian was just trying to find a way to get out of it. The phone rang again. Where are you? I'll come to you. We're in the candy zone. I'll be right there. What the fuck, Bean? Looks like I fucked up, Ian thought. Maria, what are you doing wrong? You look weird, he asked. Why are you lying to me? She asked in surprise. Well, the first call wasn't actually from Bean. He answered a little awkwardly. Who was it from then? She asked right away. From my sister, a little awkwardly replied Ian. Sister? Why did you keep it from me then if it was your sister? Marie asked. And she asked us for one delicate favor and I was shy. Continued to come up with Jan. What's the other favor? Marie asked. She asked me to buy her sanitary pads. Ian felt very uncomfortable, but he had no choice. But if that's the case, that's a different matter. You should have told me the truth. I wouldn't have laughed at you, she said. You wait here, dummy, and I'll go pick out some pads. She flashed her underwear and went to the next row of the store. That's interesting, thought Jan. Girl number 1 choosing pads for girl number 2. If she finds out the truth, I'm screwed. Jan, where's Marie? Bin is finally here. She's mad at you, Jan said with a serious look on his face. Angry with me? About what? Bin was surprised. Don't worry, I'll take care of everything. Ian replied calmly. Cool. You'll really do it? As expected of you, I'm happy. Marie already agreed to your polygamy? Now you have realized your lustful dream? Bean asked cheerfully. What kind of polygamy? She asked. At this point, it was getting quite close. We were talking about the plot of an online manga. Yeah, the main character is a sex maniac. Guys responded. From now on, no more unhealthy fantasies, Marie said sternly. The city fell into the silence of the night. A short time later, Jan arrived at Linda's house. Here are your pads, here you go, he said. Oh, thank you so much. Now I want you to carry me to the bathtub, she asked affectionately. No problem, you're acting like a child today. Jan laughed and picked her up in his arms. The next day, 3 guys were going to a class reunion. I didn't recognize Maria like that. I was used to her miniskirt. Sneaky Chard was chatting away with his new friends. I think they're up to something again. What do you think? Write in the comments. Jan Min, hi. Come here. They called out to him. What is Chard Wong up to this time? Yang thought. A large number of classmates were placed on several buses, and they went to a beautiful and picturesque place outside the city. The place was called Arnold Reservoir. Jan took the opportunity to get a fishing rod and decided to sit in silence on the shore of a beautiful body of water. But he did not enjoy the silence for long. Jan, do you play cards? We need another player, called him Chard. Sure, replied Jan. Show me what you're up to. How can it be, Jan? You've won 2 games in a row. The guys were surprised. Here we go. We lost again. Yeah, you're very lucky today, booing at the boys. You've already guessed how I keep winning. Of course, he uses his X-ray vision and sees the cards they're holding. How about we place our bets? Asked the fat man. I agree, what do you think about that? A second friend, whose name we don't know, supported him. Well, will everything be all right? I'm not sure if we should be gambling. I tried my best to act surprised. It's okay, we're adults. Besides, we're just playing for fun, said sneaky Chard. Yeah, Jan. Even Chard says that. Are you in or out? Or are you afraid of losing money? All 3 of them decided to beat him. What naive idiots. Well, okay. What time shall we place our bets? Ian asked me excitedly. Are you really going to gamble with me? You asked for it. Ian thought. Let's bet 10 yuan each round. Fatty. 10 yuan. All right, replied Yang. Damn, you couldn't bet more, he thought. Hey, all men are born gamblers once you start gambling. You can't stop so easily, they thought. Oh, you're awesome, Jan. They continued to cheer him on. I'm just lucky, Yang replied cheerfully. You let me win 200 yuan in 5 minutes. Do you think I don't know what you are doing? This is on purpose? I decided to play along. The stakes are very small, it's getting boring. The fat man started to get indignant. Why don't we raise the bet to 100 yuan? Do you agree? He suggested his friend. Make me feel the sweetness of victory and then inflict total defeat. Yang thought. 100 yuan is not enough. How about 1,000 yuan? Yang decided to raise the stakes further. He took our bait. The Chard partners were already rejoicing at how ingenious their plan had turned out to be. At least they thought so at the time. Okay, if you insist, let's do it your way. They made it look like he's the one who initiated the rate hike. Jan, what are you and the boys doing here? That's when Maria came in with Bean. Do you gamble? She was surprised. Her surprise was so strong that it turned to indignation. It's just for fun, replied Jan. Chard Wong, you're the head of the class. How could you take part in gambling? Maria looked at him indignantly. Marie, we're here to have fun tonight. Calm down, we're just having fun. That's right, not making a fuss, said the Chard. Okay, but Jan, stop when you've had enough. Naive girl thinks it's so easy to stop when the stakes get higher. Sure, don't worry, replied Ian. Ho ho, I have good cards in my hand. Yang Min, you screwed up. The Chard studied the cards that came into his hand. At this point, he began to wink at his assistant. The assistant was the same fat guy who suggested raising the stakes. I think you realize that they decided to cheat John for money. Hey, I have better maps than you, Ian thought, and activated his X-ray vision. I bet 1,000, he offered. I'm going up too, the fat man offered. This is where the promotion of our hero for money began. 5,000? Jan, are you in or out? Asked Chard. He too was willing to back the bet or even raise it. I'm in, confirmed Yan. What are you doing? Surprised Maria. Raise to 10,000, Chard declared and raised the bet. The fat man immediately backed him up. I'm in too. Jan, stop it. Don't you think it's too much? Maria was already very nervous because the rate was going up more and more. I accept. I'm in, confirmed Jan. Jan, you might want to think again. I also think the stakes are very high. But if you're sure, then you can keep as much as you want, said the Chard. Go on with your play, Ian thought. I'm not a gambler. He must be up to something. He's taking her aside and calming her down a bit. Raised to 50,000 yuan. At this moment, Chard felt like the king of the party. The total pot was about 2,000,000 yuan. Now this game is getting very interesting. Just so you understand, all bets were in dollars, with yuan drawn in their hands. Yan, are you really going to bet so much? Marie was very surprised and couldn't believe the boys were up to such a game. The bank is more than 200,000 yuan, this should be enough, said Yang. I better stop the rate hike or Chard Wong might do something desperate. So he thought, all right, let's open up. I think they've been waiting a long time for this. Look at their faces, they can taste the victory. 8.9 and 10, sorry guys, my cards are bigger, joyfully declared Chard and revealed his cards. Oh shit, I didn't expect you to have good cards. Fuck you, you were clearly cheating. His accomplices continued to play the act. Jan, why don't you show your cards? What are you waiting for? Be a man and accept your destiny. Yes, don't be a coward, they said. Oh, sorry. I think my cards are better. 9, 10, and Jack. Of course they're better. Ian revealed his cards. Shit. Your straight is bigger. Are you trying to cheat? The fat man was outraged. Ho ho. You're really playing well, Yang Min. Chard already realized he made a mistake and lost. We'll be the first to leave for lunch. They said goodbye. Damn it, I just lost 160,000 yuan to him, all my pocket money for summer vacation. Chard thought. I really don't care about the 200,000 yuan, but I wanted to see your upset face. Yang thought. Yang Min, what's going on here? Maria decided to intervene and make her presence known. Didn't you see that? It's obvious that Chard Wong and his two accomplices wanted to frame me, but I beat them, said Yang. Jan, I know. You and Chard Wong will never stop fighting with each other. Marie said she knew it was all because of her, but it mustn't happen again, she asked. Now he knows that me and you... Marie didn't finish her sentence. And there's no reason for him to do anything nasty again, she said. What's wrong with you and me? Asked Ian as if he didn't realize it himself. You fool. I'm your girlfriend now. Chard Wong doesn't stand a chance. He has no reason to bother you anymore, answered Maria. Okay, but if he won't mess with me, then I won't provoke him either, Ian suggested. That's fine, agreed Marie. Mary, look over there. And I pointed to a beautiful tree that grew near them. Cici Chu and Bing Chung. When did they get to know each other? Marie wondered. Cici Chu. That's the name, not the ones in the shot. Jan, along with Maria, approached them a little. For propriety, Jan coughed a little to draw attention to himself. Bin and his girlfriend jumped up. Shit, Jan, you scared the shit out of me. You can't be so quiet. Bin was indignant, but I didn't do anything. Hey, you're good. When did you two start dating? Yang asked. The girl didn't know what to say. We're not dating yet. Bin took him aside and said it quietly so the girls wouldn't hear them. Heh. Congratulations, Bean. She's a great choice. We bros, Mari and CICI are good friends too. It all makes it convenient for us to vacation together, said Yang. Sichi, are you really with Bean? Marie asked. No, Marie, you're wrong about us. I just twisted my ankle and he was massaging it, answered Cici. Don't miss your chance, Bean. That's how we got in touch. You think I don't know what you're thinking? Said Yang. Yang, what do you think about Cici Chu? Bin asked when they were at the apartment in the evening. She's a good girl, will make a good wife and mother. Seriously, replied John. Perfect, that's my kind of girl. Agreed Bin. Huh, and I thought you were only interested in sexy girls, wondered Jan, at which point the phone rang in the room. Hello? Hello, sir, are you in need of a massage? I promise you will feel great. He sounded a woman's voice in the phone receiver. For me, thank you. Ian hung up. What did you talk about? Bin was surprised. They offered intimate services. Jan answered. After a moment, the phone rang again. Jan picked it up. Hello, who is this? He asked. Good evening, sir. Are you in need of intimate services? We have student girls and many other beauties for you to choose from. Offered him. No, don't! Call me here more, replied Jan. Shit, I just want to get a good night's sleep, Ian said with a tortured look. And you could just unplug the phone, Bin suggested. You can imagine their surprise when just a few seconds later the phone rang again. Fuck you, comma. I already told you I don't need your slutty services. Now you're, happy, you know what? I've got a beautiful and gentle girl. I don't need your sexual favors. I was already pissed off. Jan, it turned out to be Maria calling. You can imagine her surprise when their call connected. Mari? Wondered Jan. And at that time, some strange silhouette with horns appeared in the corridor. Have you noticed it yet? Well, I missed you and I wanted to call you. What were you just talking about? Asked Marie. At this time, she was only in her underwear, which beautifully emphasized the beauty of her young body. I'm sorry, Marie, I didn't realize it was you. Before that, there were 2 annoying phone calls. Jan apologized for his rude words. It's okay, but don't swear anymore. What are you doing now? Marie asked. Ho. I was just talking to Bean about his girlfriend Cece. I'm sure Cece has already talked to you about Bin, said Yang. At that moment, the room door opened. Maybe, I'm going to take a shower. While Marie said goodbye to him, and from behind the door came a strange face. Hello, everyone. Now let's go back to the names of our heroes because I found a manga where their names have not been changed. Yang Min remains unchanged, Bing Cheong. Akoi Jiang Bing, Mari, also remains unchanged. Chard Vaughn, now Wang Jitao. If I'm not mistaken, that's his name in the beginning, X. Sissy Chu is now Zhao Sisi. Linda Lime is now Lin Lin. That's it. Now back to our story. Brother, did CCC say anything to Marie about me? Bin asked. No, when we were talking, Marie said that CICI was taking a shower, said Young Min. At that time, a strange black silhouette was already outside their door. It's a good thing I didn't ask Young Min to order prostitutes. If I had and Sichi had found out, it would have been the end, Bin thought. Young Ming noticed what was happening to Bin. He closed his eyes and mentally apologized to Shishi. Wait a minute. Marie said she was going to take a shower. Jian Minu came up with a brilliant idea. Interesting. I'll just take a sneak peek, just once, he thought, and activated his X-ray vision. That glowing white body, it's just wonderful. Damn, it's Zhao Shishi. Young Ming was very surprised. Oh, what have I done? She's my sister-in-law and I just saw her naked. That's not good, right? Thought Young Min. Using his X-ray vision, he also looked in the next room. Who's that? Young Min was surprised. What the hell? Is he really that fearless? Wang Jitao actually called prostitutes for himself. Yang Ming was surprised. Bin, do you have a camera? Yang asked. A camera? Of course, it's in my bag. Bin replied. I'll be out for a while, said Yang while Bin continued to fantasize on CI. Young Min went outside and hid in the bushes of Wang Jitao. Hehehe, he didn't even cover the curtains, thought Yang Ming. Who's that walking around in the dark? Yang Min saw that strange black silhouette loitering under the windows. He's hanging around Maria's room and Cici. That asshole. What's he doing there? Is he really peeping? Young Min was surprised. There's no way I'm gonna let someone spy on my girlfriend. You've met your end by running into me tonight. Young Ming resolutely jumped out from behind the bushes. Hey shit, step back for a second. And Yan M clapped him on the shoulder. Ooh, the monster roared menacingly. Isn't that Chen Afu? Surprised Young Min. You stupid asshole? You think this will work, pretending to be a ghost in front of me? Young Min was surprised. Wait, something's wrong. This guy didn't come here to peep. If he did, he wouldn't need a costume. If he's not here to peek, Young Min thought. So he's trying to scare Marie? This freak is definitely looking for death. Young Min thought in surprise. How about an interesting idea? At this moment, Yang Min has something in mind. Hey, you, in the mask, follow me. Yang Min grabbed him by the bedspread and dragged him along. Boo, boo, boo. The masked freak muttered. Don't you dare refuse the chance I'm giving you. If you continue to behave like this, and I will end you. Yang Min said sternly. Damn it. Isn't Yang Min afraid of ghosts? He thought. Go ahead, said Yang Ming and placed the ghost right in front of the window. Guess who? Start what? What are you talking about? The asshole in the ghost costume was surprised. I don't know what you mean, wondered the jerk in the ghost suit. You seriously can't understand this. What did you come here for before? The matter is now, said Yang Min. Go and scare people, you got it. Don't waste time. And Yang Min gave him a juicy kick in the ass. The ghost approached the window and began to make incomprehensible but frightening noises. What is that sound? Wang Jitao was surprised. He looked around to see where he had heard this terrifying sound. What the hell is that? When he looked out the window, he bounced on his couch. Why are you yelling? What's wrong? Is it because you can't have sex anymore? And you decided to come up with such an excuse? The girl was surprised. It's a ghost. It's a ghost outside the window. Wang Jitao was very frightened. He even almost fainted. The next day, he was very groggy. He obviously hadn't slept well. His associates couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. Huh? What's wrong with Wang Jitao today? Bin was surprised. Maybe he's upset because he lost at cards yesterday, replied Yang Min cheerfully. After what happened last night, I saw Wang Jitao using his little one in the toilet. He was so scared that he turned impotent, Yang thought. Wang Jitao. Oh, Wang Jitao. Be good and remain such an unmanly man. Now you're impotent, so why are you still fighting me for a girl? For starters, sort yourself out, Ian thought. A little more time passed, and already in August, friends gathered in a restaurant. To celebrate my son Yang Min's enrollment at CJ University, everyone should eat and drink a lot, his father said. CJ University, right? Not bad, but it's still worse than the universities in Beijing, said Yang Ming's cousin, named Yang Li. If yours were high enough, you could go to town, but the solution is not that high. You don't have a choice, said cousin Yang Li. His points are comma enough to go to Peking or Tsinghua, but he didn't want to do that. His father added, How many points do you have? I'm curious about which universities in Beijing you could apply to, said cousin Yang Li. It's not that much. Only 697 points. Yang Min replied calmly. I don't know if it's a lot or not, but cousin was very surprised. I heard that the questions this year were simpler, so the average score is higher than usual. So this score probably won't be considered as high in Beijing. She tried to get out of it. 697 points? That's up over 60 points from my score last year. But maybe so. But the fact that Yang Min got into CJ University already makes me and Auntie very happy, said father. Yang Min, your cousin has been like this since she was a kid, so don't hold it against her. His father calmed him down. A couple of days later, Yang Min was standing at the bus stop waiting for his transportation. At that moment, he remembered his father's words. Yang Min, visit Yang Li and find out what new students need to know. He remembered his father's words, who was always grumbling, there's no way I'd go to her. He thought, oh, Jan Min, you came after all. Come in, make yourself comfortable. Yang Li is upstairs with his girlfriend, come up and see her. Yang Min went up to the second floor and heard the girls laughing as he got closer to her. Didn't we agree to talk in private? Why does she have another guest right now? Her friend was surprised. When Yang Min opened the door, he saw two pretty girls, Yang Li and her friend. They were both sitting on her bed. Sorry for the intrusion. Say hello to Yang Min. Yang Min, what's wrong with you? How can you enter a girl's room like that? Outraged cousin. Lily, is that your cousin you were talking about? He's actually quite handsome, not as ugly as you said her friend. Sunji, don't mind him, said cousin. Oh my god, he's so embarrassed. I'm 80% sure he's still a virgin, said Sunji. I wonder if she's a whore. Why did my cousin get involved with someone like her? Although maybe she is the same, Young Min thought. What are you looking at? Said Sunji. Her breast size is G, maybe an H, or maybe even bigger. Her breasts maybe even bigger than Sister Ying's, mind you. That's a teacher from school, thought Young Min. Why? Am I not allowed to watch? Do you think anyone will believe in your innocence? Young Min replied sharply. Innocence? Sunji was surprised. She even stood up and came closer. I didn't wear any underwear today. Do you want to see it? She asked Yang Min. She clearly felt like a queen. Yang Min, how can you talk to my friend like that? How can you be such a pervert? Be more restrained or I'll tell my uncle everything. Cousin was indignant. Am I a pervert? You're the only one who's friends with a perverted girl. Who knows, you might even be just like her, yet you dare to say something like that to me? He thought. Do you need advice from me about when you're going to university or not? Cousin asked indignantly. Yeah, start dispensing your advice. He was obviously bored that he even started picking his nose. It's good to see that at least he turned his back on the girls. Yang Min, first of all, your attitude is totally wrong. How are you going to build a relationship with your classmates if you act like it's a school? Cousin said. Yes, I understand, John replied calmly. When you start, your class will probably have a lot of kids from rich families, so you have to work very hard to get on good terms with them, she kept saying. And today I'm going to let you experience the upper-class lifestyle of rich people. So when you meet your classmates, you won't worry and you won't embarrass yourself, said Cousin. Are you really taking me somewhere? Young Ming was surprised. That's right, me and Sunji have already planned everything. Soon we are going to our friend's party and you will come with us, said Cousin. My friend Sunji is not dating anyone, so you will temporarily play the role of her boyfriend. She added, you dare talk to me like that when you're actually asking me for a favor. Not to mention your condescending tone when you said you'd take me to gain experience of the upper-class lifestyle. Surprised Yan Min. Sunji no stood in front of him and bent back a little. Yang Ming saw the beauty of her lush breasts in great detail, but those huge breasts are so attractive. Yang Ming froze a little and forgot what he wanted to say. Well, say something. What are you waiting for? His cousin pulled him out of his dirty fantasies. I have one question. Can a temporary guy enjoy the same privileges as a regular guy? Young Min asked. What kind of privilege do you want from me? It quote S fine as long as it's doable. Sunji approached him closely and ran her finger along his neck and chin. Hehehe, you said it yourself. Yang agreed. Yang Min, who do you think you are? His cousin was indignant. At least Sunji doesn't talk as harshly as Yang Li does. Although she definitely likes to flirt, thought Yang Min. There are many people who want to get their hands on Sunji. The man who invited us here today is the vice president of the Xiangfeng group. Just be a good boy and act as our defense when we're there. Don't cause any trouble, she asked. Then don't ask for my help. This is who I am, said Yang Min. Damn, it's the Xiangfeng group again. And he's the vice president? So in the future, he'll be Wang Jitao's lackey? Said Yang Ming. Lily, your cousin just has that kind of temper. Sunji laughed. What kind of temper? Hey, we're going to change now. Get out of here now. Cousin was indignant. Within 30 minutes, two incredibly beautiful girls emerged from the room. Are they really the same girls as before? Why are you looking at me like that? Sunji asked. Of course not. Yang Min was very surprised at how they changed for the better. Sunji, that girl is so mysterious. My intuition tells me that she's the type of person who could eat me whole. Yang Min is back in his fantasy. Pervert. Be serious and act natural, don't give us away. Continued to speak in a serious tone with my cousin. Looks like this party's not going to be the same and simple. Only someone like Yang Li, someone who thinks she's always right, can be best friends with a girl like her. Interesting. I can't see through him. You said he's a pervert and a lecher, but I don't think he is. Ever since that incident, in the past 5 years, he's the only man I haven't found disgusting. Sun Ji thought. It wasn't long before they found themselves in a nightclub. Sorry to interrupt. 3 guests have arrived, reported a club employee. Sunji, you're finally here. I'm very happy to meet you, said the guy with the glasses. This is the vice president of Xiangfeng Group named Gu Tianchan. Vice President Gu, what do you mean? We arrived on time. Why do you say it like we're late? Yang Li asked in a stern voice. Vice President Gu, I only brought Sunji here because you bought me a branded handbag. You shouldn't blame me if you can't get the Sunji because of your haste. That's not what I meant. I only said that because I was looking forward to meeting our lovely lady. Glasses decided to remedy the situation. This is my boyfriend, Yang Ming Sunji, introduced him. Her boyfriend? Vice President Gu was surprised. That's right. Yang Min, let me introduce you. This is Gu Tianchan. He is the vice president of Xiangfeng Group. He is only 29 years old, but you can already say that he has unlimited prospects, said Sunji. Well, hello there. Yang Ming extended his hand for a handshake. You chose to ignore me? I tried to show you some respect, but you completely rejected it. Then don't blame yourself for me not respecting you, Yang Min thought. Dear Sunji, Mr. Gu seems to be very hostile to me. Yang Ming quietly said to her, Mr. Yang, you're mistaken. Please sit down. Mr. Gu invited them to the table. Mr. Yang, what is your job? Asked the rich, bespectacled man. I'm unemployed. Yang Ming replied calmly. He had nothing to hide, so he felt relaxed. My cousin started university this year. How can he be as successful as you? Said Yang Li. I may have brought you together, but it was actually for Vice President Gu. Now I have given a clue that in truth Sunji is alone. Why else would I tell you to pretend to be Sunji's boyfriend and deceive everyone? Yang Li thought. Huh? I noticed that Mr. Yang had the same last name as me, so I jokingly called him. I added Yang Li. She's ruining it on purpose. Yang Min thought and frowned a little. Since you're doing this, I'll play by my own rules, Yang Min thought, and put the wine glass on the table with a loud bang. Enough, cousin, I know you look down on people like me. He started acting drunk, but Sunji and I sincerely love each other. He added, She hasn't had a chance to say anything yet, so why are you so concerned about them? He hugged her tightly by the shoulders. All 3 of them were stunned by this behavior. They obviously didn't expect it. The 2 rich bastards even looked at each other. I'll go to the restroom, President Hua offered. President of Hua Jewelry Company. Me too. We'll go together. Seconded his suggestion. After seeing them off with a glance, he realized the rich bastards were starting to panic. Sunji is so good, why did she choose a guy like that? The bespectacled man was indignant. Don't worry, bro. His friend calmed him down. Don't forget, we still have a backup plan. And his friend showed me a bag of some strange white powder. I think you've guessed what they're going to do. Get the girls drunk and then have sex with them. What is it? Are you afraid? His friend asked him. Afraid? What should I be afraid of? Do you think I'm afraid of that little brat? Said the bespectacled guy who wanted to have sex. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Sunji family, said his friend Hua. Glasses, I didn't think of that. Aren't all women the same? As long as you please her in bed, she can't refuse you. The bespectacled man had the courage to snatch the bag of drugs from his hands. Hey, that's right. Then congratulations on becoming the future son-in-law of the Sun family, said his friend Hua. Ha ha ha. Relax, big brother Hua. When that day comes, I won't forget your kindness. The bespectacled man laughed. Silly kid, now I have the material to blackmail you in the future. You're all in the palm of my hand, thought Hua. Why is the atmosphere so quiet here? The bespectacled man returned to the hall and offered to drink wine. Sunji, how about we drink some red wine? He suggested and poured her a glass. I wouldn't drink it if I were you, said Yang Min, knowing full well that this could be a setup. Why do you say that? Sunji was surprised. It's just a glass of red wine. What could be wrong with it? Suit yourself. You just ignored my advice? Well, I guess we lost you, thought Ianmin. And don't say I didn't warn you in case something happens to you later, he thought. Sunji placed the empty glass on the table and the bespectacled man smiled pleasantly. Let's just finish up here. I've booked the big karaoke room upstairs. Let's go upstairs, sing and relax, Mr. Hua suggested. It looks like the drug has already started to take effect. I wonder how long it would take for the full effect to kick in. I've been watching Sunji. They went up to karaoke and started singing. Karaoke is very common in Korea. Oh, they're so awful, Youngmin thought, and flicked his lighter to light a cigarette. If you want to smoke, go out and smoke. Are you trying to kill our lungs? We're singing right now and the smoke is choking us, outraged cousin. Nobody minded. You're the only one who made a big deal out of it. Well, I'll just go to the restroom so I don't have to hear the screaming, thought Youngmin. At that time, Sunji felt something was happening to her. Strange, why am I so horny? She thought. Sunji, is there something wrong with you? There's a restroom, why don't you go in there and get some rest? The bespectacled man has obviously been waiting for this moment. I have to go to the restroom right away, she said and ran out of the room. She skidded into the restroom, slamming the door behind her, managed to sit down and remove her panties. How it started. She was so horny, unable to restrain herself, she started caressing herself with her hand. Sunchi? Aren't you being a little over the top? She didn't notice me here. Surprised Yang Ming, who was smoking near the window. Shit! She went to the restroom. She didn't do it to please herself, right? If that's the case, then our plan has failed, said the bespectacled man. Hey, brother, are you getting impatient already? Under the effects of this drug, a girl can't take care of herself. She won't be able to control her body even when she's sober, said Scoundrel Hua. What's going on with me tonight? I'm so hot. I really want to find a man to have sex with me, she thought. No, there are no good men in the world. Everyone only gets close to me because of my family, she thought with a little disappointment. But why am I thinking about him right now? Of course, at that moment she thought of our handsome young Min, Big Brother Hua. Are you sure Sunji won't report me? The bespectacled man is scared. You really don't know what's going on? Said Scoundrel Hua. The Sun family is a modern-day noble family. If something shaky happens, do you really think they would choose to report it? Said the sneaky Hua. What's more, if we take some racy pictures, you'll still have reason to be afraid of that? Said the sneaky Hua. The girl was very horny and kept caressing herself with her fingers. Yangmin, make it harder, she whispered. Is your imaginary partner really me? I wouldn't say that I have such a dominant character. Youngming was very surprised. Or maybe I heard her wrong? Maybe it just happened to be her type, said Youngmin. Janmin. She kept repeating, not paying attention to what was going on around her. At that moment, the phone rang. Damn, why didn't I change that ringtone? Or didn't put it on vibrate? Yangming almost dropped the phone when it rang. It wasn't my scene at that moment. They both stood staring at each other, sweating, she from excitement and he from disturbing her. The phone call didn't disturb her in any way. At this moment, she continued to satisfy herself. Yangming was even more surprised. Can't she see me at all? Is she really blind? Yangming was even more surprised. Yangmin, she kept repeating, kiss me, right now. I think you realized that she was very horny and out of control. Earlier I warned you not to drink that wine, but you didn't listen to me. I'm not responsible for what happens next, said Youngmin. After these words, passionate and hot sex began right on the wash basin of this toilet. It was wonderful. Hua's older brother. Do you think maybe she was able to satisfy herself on her own? The sneaky, bespectacled guy started to suspect something. I wish I could say no. But she has been there for over 30 minutes. How could she restrain herself for so long? Said Hua. At this point in time, they continued to have passionate sex. The washstand was perfect for this, the perfect height for deep penetration. After a while, she started to feel much better, and she remembered what Yang Min had told her. I wouldn't drink it if I were you. So I've been drugged. This guy's a goo. I'll get you. Hurry up and tidy yourself up so that no one will suspect us. She fixed her dress and Yang Min fixed himself. Sunji, I was going to say. Yang Min didn't finish his sentence. She interrupted him. Shut up, just don't say anything, she said. We're all alike, aren't we? We all have needs. When we get out, pretend like nothing happened. She asked. Okay, agreed Janmin. Now you care about that. Am I your toy? He thought. It was your first time, wasn't it? I can say I underestimated you, she said playfully. I could say the same thing to you. We're all alike, aren't we? Young Min decided to answer her in her own words. I think he did a good job. When everything was in order, Yang Min opened the door and walked out of the restroom. You two, what were you doing there? Jaws almost fell over in surprise. Heh. I'm sorry I didn't feel so good. I was really nauseous after the red wine and my boyfriend took care of me the whole time, she said. Oh, it's true. The bespectacled man was surprised. He finished his wine in one gulp and realized that he had no sex tonight. I think Yang Min will be grateful for the surprise. Forgive us, Sunji. We have some business to attend to, so we'll be the first to leave. The two bastards realized they'd screwed up and decided to leave quietly. Sunji, are they gone already? Cousin finally woke up. Yes, they're all gone. Let's go out of here too, suggested Sunji. Oh, why are you still here? Cousin was surprised when she saw Yang Min. It's not because you want Sunji and I to walk you home, is it? She continued to be indignant. I think you realize that she slept through all the fun stuff and offered a grunt. I'm leaving right now. I'm sick of it. Yang Li called him here to protect them and now she's cursing at him. Lily, your cousin is very interesting, Sunji said cryptically. Are you kidding me, him? Interesting. Yang Li. I wonder if he has a girlfriend, asked Sunji. How dare someone be so insolent? I'll break his damn legs. Young Min opened the door to the corridor, and there was his acquaintance walking by, muttering something. Is it really the older brother of the Bao he met in prison? Yang Ming wondered. Yang Ming caught up with him in the hallway and called out, Brother Bao, is it really you? What a coincidence, Brother Bao. What are you doing here? Asked Yang Brother Yang. It's good to see you. Where are you going so angry? Yang asked. Well, after I got out of prison, I started working here as a security guard. I was told by a waiter that someone was causing a disturbance, so I'm going there to check it out, said Bao. Let's go there together. With your support, I'm not afraid of anything. Okay, Brother Bao, let's go. Now take my hand away. If they see us like this, they might think we're dating, you know what I mean? Is that him? Again. After walking down the corridor for a while, they saw a familiar face. Young Min recognized him immediately. Is something wrong? Brother Yang, do you know him? Asked Bao. Yes, I met that bitch a while ago, said Yang. I'm gonna give him a good kicking before I throw him out on the street. Bao was ready to fight. Wait, a good kicking. Isn't it too easy to let him go? Said Yang Ming. So? What's your plan to punish him? Bao asked. Brother Bao, why don't you use my plan? And he shared an interesting idea with him. Brother Yang, that's quite an interesting and sinister plan. Bao was surprised. You fucking asshole! You dare to harass my girlfriend? You want to die? Bao was approaching with the others. You! Who are you? The bespectacled man was surprised. I am the head security guard in this establishment and she is my girlfriend, said the Bao sternly. I apologize, I made a terrible mistake. I'm sorry, sir, I'll be leaving right away. The bespectacled man began to stammer and mumbled something to himself. You asshole, trying to run away after pinning my girlfriend? Pretending I don't exist? Bao was outraged. Then how do you think we should decide this? Asked Goggles. How? First, let's go to my office, said the Bao sternly. You know what the wise man said? An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. You're a man and you wanted to rape my girlfriend. What do you think your punishment should be? You have to bring a woman so she can rape me? Asked the bespectacled girl. A woman? Dream on. Bao smiled slyly. Dulon, he's yours. Make him feel good, okay? Bao called for his familiar. Ah, this cute boy is really adorable, said a tough guy named Dulon. Who are you? Get off me. No, don't touch me. Continued shouting from behind the door of the office. How was it? Did you like it? And Bao kicked him in the ass. Ouch, no. The bespectacled man was crying and sobbing. Yeah, I liked it, said the bespectacled man. So you had a good time, didn't you? And then how about one more time? Asked Bao. At that moment, someone knocked on the office door. What's the matter? Asked Bao. Brother Bao, your friend has come to see you. A voice came from behind the door. A friend? Who? It's Yang Min, Yang's brother. Yang Mi has entered the office. Brother Bao, are you busy? Asked him. Brother Yang, long time no see. No, I'm not busy. Just some asshole has been messing with my girlfriend. I'm thinking of drowning him in the river, replied Bao. Yang Min, save me. The bespectacled man started to beg. Hey, Who told you to say Brother Yang's name? Bao kicked him in the ass again. Aren't you the vice president of GU? Why are you here? Asked Yang Min. Senior, Big Brother Yang. Save me. I don't want to die, whimpered the bespectacled boy. To die? Brother Bao, let Vice President GU go. He is my girlfriend's friend, said Yang Brother Yang. You and I live by the same concept. You must realize that we care about our reputation more than anything else, said Bao. That shit ain't got nothing to do with you. If you're gonna let him go, there's got to be a good reason, said Bao. Ian looked at that pathetic little brat and didn't even know what to say. He's my subordinate, said Yang Min. That's right. I'm Big Brother Yang's subordinate, Big Brother Bao. For the sake of Big Brother Yang's reputation, please let me go, whimpered the bespectacled man. Is it true? Then why didn't you say it before? Bao asked sternly. I was afraid of causing trouble for Big Brother Yang. I was too scared to say anything, whimpered the bespectacled man. Well, all right, I'll keep you alive, but only because of Brother Yang's reputation. You'd better remember that. You're one of Brother Yang's men. I won't hurt you, even though I want to, said Bao. But if the day comes when Brother Yang no longer needs you, that will be the day of your death, Bao said sternly. Yes. I will be Big Brother Yang's subordinate for the rest of my life. Don't worry. I won't dare to do anything that can bring trouble to Big Brother Yang anymore. Vice President GU began to bow low to the floor. Okay, but don't forget that I wrote down your words. Big Brother Yang covered for you this time. For now, I won't show this recording to anyone. It can also be used to control you, Bao said sternly. If you do anything else to besmirch Brother Yang's name in the future, I will publish this record on the internet, and the whole city will see it, said Bao. I wouldn't dare. Vice President GU began to bow low to the floor. Okay, that's enough. Get lost, you are insulting me with your presence. I and Brother Yang will make up for lost time, said Bao sternly. Brother Yang, you're really very sneaky. This guy is now very grateful to you. Now he will not dare to cross you in the future, said Bao. It's all thanks to your help, Brother Bao, said Yang Min.